You're listening to The Pete Shepherd Show.
How are you guys, and ladies and girls, and boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to The Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. How is everybody doing this morning? It is football day. So those of you who do not like football, there will be football during the week from now until February to the Super Bowl. At least one game every single week, whether it's college, NFL, or high school. What a happy day. What a happy day. Yes, it is. So happy football. Many wives and girlfriends, not to be discriminatory, but this would be like the worst day of their life. It's the worst news they could possibly hear because your spouse, your boyfriend, or whatever, even though there's a lot of women that are huge football fans, and I get that, but there's also frustration that your husband or boyfriend's weekends will be taken up for the next several months until February. But that's the way it goes. Football is king. NFL and college, two greatest sports in this country, most followed, most watched. And we'll get into all that as the Bears, who are playing nobody tonight in the Hall of Fame game, it seems, are going up against the Houston Texans. And I don't know who's playing for them either. I have no idea who's going to be playing. I don't know if Brian's going to play anybody for the Houston Texans. I'm sure C.J. Stroud is not going to play. I mean, I can't be 100% sure. I just know a bunch of Bears aren't going to play. So get ready for Tyson Bagent and Brett Rippon. A lot of that for the Texans. And as far as the for the Bears at quarterback, and as far as Houston goes, Davis Mills and Case Keenum. And maybe, if we're lucky, a little bit of Tim Boyle. I say that facetiously. But anyway, nevertheless, it is football. Great show lined up for you today. Got a lot of funny, some good videos that you're going to love in the sports and entertainment world that I think are going to make you laugh. I always try to find some great videos, and with the help of Angel, we'll get them all out to you. We got NFL camp news today. Red Sox report coming up at 8:15. Angels Phillies are not playing well. They seem to be blowing leads throughout this series with the Yankees anyway, but they're still a very good baseball team. They just have not got out of the gate since the All-Star break and played pretty well. We've also got some college football news, Olympics update, and just right out of the gate, as we say good morning to Angel Martinez. I switch on. I always like to go back and check parts of my show and try to listen to some of the other shows. But I get this stupid little message on Facebook yesterday, like we used to get, because they hated your music for your show, and they would occasionally hate some of the stuff that I played, saying it was too long and everything else. But it hasn't happened in a while. And then these jerk-offs come on yesterday and tell us that some of the video that we played, which is public domain, by the way, Facebook, it's public domain. You don't have the right to block my show because of that. Twitter doesn't do it. All the other, and I don't know if YouTube did it as well. You said, Angel, Facebook or YouTube have some sort of an issue with me playing some of the video that is public domain. I don't play anything that isn't public domain. Nothing. I don't need to ask your permission, Facebook and YouTube, to play it. I don't. Go ask the Twitter people. They don't bust my balls or anybody else's. So why are you? I will tell you, Facebook. I will tell you. Stay off my show. Good morning, Angel.
Good morning, Pete. Yeah, I don't know what the issue was either, because it is, and it's funny because then I have to go back and I have to tell them it's available in public domain, and then they still want to argue with you and tell you, like, no, it's not. Like, yes, it is.
Who is they, though? Who is they? Some punk-ass little kid who, stuck in his mom's basement, who's never kissed a girl in his life, making these decisions? What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, probably. Who the hell knows? For all I know is that they decided to flag it because Rick was the first one to send me a message yesterday saying, hey, by the way, your feed is gone from Facebook. And this is kind of why, folks, we keep saying this over and over again. If you actually download the all-new digital sports app, that feed that we send over to the website never goes away. It stays up there. So
and Twitter does too. At least on my feed, all the Twitter thing, they never go away. So it's always there.
Elon is pretty good at being at fair play with everybody else. That's the whole thing. Everybody just YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they all do the same nonsense.
Rumble and Spotify are fine. LinkedIn's fine, right? Twitch.
Yeah, Rumble was fine
Those
because
are all fine.
yep, I was looking at that feed. LinkedIn was fine. So it's Zucker. Well, I won't. I have a choice name for him, but anyways, Zucker dude. Yeah,
We got yeah, go ahead.
he's just a freaking moron. Period.
We got big Florida Panther spotted in Naples crossing through a backyard. Matt Devin great has the video. This sucker's big. That's a big boy. Now, I've seen one like that when I was living at Bonita National. He was just lying on the third tee box on Christmas Day. I'll never forget that back in 2017.
Good Lord.
It says, just a reminder for those living in Florida that the heat index today, or induces will reach around 111 degrees. Yes. Peter Gallagher and I were having coffee this morning out in Lanai around 6 o'clock, and it was already beyond steamy. This is those days that either you got to be in a pool all day or you got to be covered. It is a heat advisory. They had sent a heat advisory out this morning here in Southwest Florida, and I'm sure in Tampa as well, at like 5:30 this morning. So it's going to be. This is not a scorcher. This is danger, Will Robinson out there today. So be careful. Stay hydrated. Numbnuts. Please.
Well, and it's first of all, it's August here in Florida. We know this is the steamiest month between August and September. That's why the hurricanes start picking up some steam. But it's that time of the year. It's going to listen. If anybody's been to Vegas, everybody knows in Vegas, that's their normal temperatures. So it's just like being in Vegas.
It's a dry heat. No, it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
It is different in Vegas. It is different in Arizona and in Vegas. It really. This is like you go out here and today, and I saw a young lady running early this morning at about 6:15. I'm like, Jesus, you got to get it in because once the sun comes up, forget about it. All over. I see my man Otis is checking in on Twitter. That guy has balls of steel because he's outside doing mason work and other stuff. He just all the time. It's just crazy. Anybody all these guys and girls who work outside doing all the stuff that we don't want to do anymore. People on the roof, people cutting hedges, even though they interrupt the show sometime and they bang on the window and they want Angel's autograph and stuff like that. But those guys who work outside, God bless you. I don't care what you're doing. I don't know how you do it. I really don't. I'd be dead in a half an hour, like dead. That'd be it. That's like, I'm coming to be like the French say, I'm coming, Elizabeth. This is the one. It would never. I couldn't do it. I don't know how. And everybody's covered. It's not like you're out there in short sleeves and a bathing suit or shorts. They're all covered because of bugs and the sun, and you're trying to protect yourself. But still, I could not wear longs. I don't wear long sleeve shirts anyway. I can't remember the last time I wore a long sleeve shirt or pants, for that matter. I don't wear pants a lot, but God bless you guys and girls that do that stuff. Rick says days like this working at the airport are the worst. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, anybody who's working outside, how do you do it?
God bless.
The airport workers are all covered up too. They all got, they're all wearing pants. And I mean, my God, swamp ass galore today. That's what it is. This is swamp ass weather, Angel.
Well, I think the worst one is when we step in our garages down here in Florida, when it gets to be like this, because you step in the garage, and I think it's 1,000 times worse than just stepping outside. Like you can take a shower. For the ladies, I feel bad because you guys, I know you love to make sure your hair looks good and to make it look good.
Yeah,
when it gets this time of year, it's the hair frizz in the whole 9 yards, and there's nothing you can do about it, no matter what. So it is.
I freak out of frizz. I've never understood that. I'm talking about from when I was dating as a teenager. Girls, it doesn't matter what age. God, do they hate frizz? I think it's kind of cute. I don't know. It doesn't bother. I don't think any guy goes, oh, Jesus, look at her. She's all frizzed out. Jesus, I'm not even going to talk to her,
Yeah.
Or your wife or your girlfriend will say something and like, okay, it's a little frizzy. So what? I look at the back of my head. You want to talk about depression? It's unbelievable. Um, it's like slapping a piece of bologna back there. You
It
know,
is.
that's why from the front it's not so bad. But once you get behind me, you get a huge bald spot, and I don't do that hair club for men crap or everything. I go au naturel, Angel. I go au naturel. That's how I rule. That's how I rule.
Yeah, it's the best way to freaking do it. Listen, it's like father time. It's gonna happen. My dad's 84 now, turned 84, and he still has his hair, but it's I think he was telling me that his dad had zero hair at the age of like 60 or something else like that. So he would just shave it, to the scalp. And then my dad, which I'm kind of the hereditary thing, is where it thins out. So there's hair, but it starts to thin out. But it's part of.
Well, when you were in the military, Angel, I mean, I'm assuming that I don't know how long your hair was when you joined the military, but you probably kept it. You keep it. I like keeping my hair short,
Yeah.
not quite as short as yours, but close. But since you've been in the military, right? You've always kept it, high and tight, as they say, right?
Yeah, that and when we were kids, it was always the same way too. I never had long hair. I think my mom tried it like once, and then it would drive me nuts. It was the whole thing was like, you have to push your hair back. I'm like, Ma, do you know how typical PR that looks? Like, mijo, take the brush and go like this.
I never had, bless, when I went, like I said, I went to Bishop Hendricken High School, very proud alum, class of 85, coming up on our 40-year anniversary, by the way. But went there by my own choice because I didn't go to Catholic elementary school or anything like that. But anyway, so we had to be high and tight. You had to be clean shaven. And if you had stubble, yeah, I'm telling you, it was like, if you went to school and didn't shave for a couple of days, I had to start shaving at like 13. I was like a gorilla. So I had to, briefly it's shave when I was 13, and certainly in high school, if it wasn't every day, it was every other day. But we had to, because if you didn't, you get detention. They didn't give a shit if you're a star athlete, star pupil. It didn't matter if you didn't represent the school the right way. You were reprimanded. They'd give you a warning. It'd be, they'd call it always. It's always Mister this, Mister that, Mister, Mister Pete.
Yeah.
Mr. Martinez, when you come in here tomorrow, please, be properly groomed, as Brother Paddock would usually say.
The one thing that the military should get big on, and I think every male does this, but right in the back part of where your chin kind of meets, the neck and the face there, I can't tell you how many times the guys used to come to formation in the morning, and that's the first thing they would do. The drill sergeant would come around, and then when you went to your regular unit, they would come around to your active duty unit, and that's all they would do. You look straight at them, and they run their finger. Once they ran this, it was like smoke time. And smoke, not cigarettes, push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks. It was like doing the burpees version, and then just whip yourself out before you even.
How about up downs? How about up downs? Up downs are the worst.
That was part of it. When the words were either half right or half left face, and you already knew it, you were pushing the earth until you got to China.
What's the worst part? I'm sure you're an excellent soldier, but everybody gets flagged for something. What's the worst thing that they did to you or your drill sergeant made you do? See, for me, it'd be like when I watch Full Metal Jacket. It's discipline, but it's funny as hell. To drill sergeants, the way they bust balls, I would have a hard time. I'd be a blooper because I'd crack up. I would probably have to do a gazillion push-ups. But what's the worst thing that happened to you?
Well, for me, one was because once I made rank, I would always, and to this day, I'll always do it. I even did it in the civilian world. I always defended the guys no matter what. I mean, they would, some stuff was like goofy and you would get trouble for it, but whatever. Yep. And a lot of times I ended up getting in trouble just because I stuck up for them. So they made me the one time they gave me I think the most ever amount of exercise a human could possibly have. And I was literally throwing up because if they kept pushing it, then I would drink water, I would throw it up again. So they decided, well, you know what, since you want to be such a wise ass and you think that you believe that your guys are doing just fine, how about you take your BDU bottoms, you take them off, you just stand out there in your friggin' skivvies, and then you act like the American flag and just watch your friggin' BDUs just waving the wind. Yeah. I went through some doozy crap for sure.
That's kind of a code red type of thing.
Yeah, but when you're in an all male unit, because as an engineer,
Yeah.
so the only females that were allowed anywhere near our battalion, they would have to be medics or cooks, one of the two. Other than that, none of them would ever be there. Now on the weekends, of course, you had I can't say that word either, but you had the barrack rats. For
Yeah.
it's like the truck stops, the same exact way. You had the ones that would come around, and the guys who actually met really nice girls. They were fun when they would come around because we had a basketball court that was on the premise and there was a tennis court. Mind you, no one ever played tennis, but it was fun. But other than that, you wouldn't have it. So if they embarrassed you, the only people that are going to see it is the same people in your unit, unless it was
Gotcha.
a lieutenant that came in from like another unit down from 82nd.
Gotcha. Well, again, as always, thank you for your service for this great nation of ours. Speaking of this great nation of ours, the Olympics are going on. And a quick update before we get, because we're going to do a lot of NFL. We're going to get a lot of video for you today. We'll hear Aaron Rodgers' little pathetic excuse about his little tiff with Garrett Wilson and everything else. But just to update you today, I talked to our good friend Rick Horrow yesterday in France. He's covering some events for Gridiron for him, what he does. But we're gonna have an Olympic Minute, a video update from him as well before he joins us back live for his regular shift next Thursday, because he's been all over the place. I think he was at the British Open or the Open. Now he's in Paris. God only knows what kind of suite he's staying in. But in case you're wondering, the events today in the Olympics, men's golf started around 3:00 this morning on the Golf Network. You can catch it again at 9:45 on NBC. We got men's table tennis today. Round of 16, Kanak Jia for the United States versus Zhendong Fan of China. That happened at 4 a.m. I don't know who won. The women's team foil taking place. I think I saw an injury. That started at foil, meaning I believe fencing. That's at 5:50. That's exciting. Then men and women's doubles tennis, 6 a.m. We got women 3-on-3 basketball, pool play, U.S. versus Australia. That's going on right now on Peacock. Men's beach volleyball, women's table tennis, women's gymnastics all around, which is the only thing people are going to watch at 12:15 on NBC. We got badminton. We got women's badminton. Round of 16, Bei Wen Zhang from the U.S. versus Carolina Marin of Spain. That's at 12:30 on Peacock. Again, we got men's 3-on-3 basketball, Lithuania and the U.S. at 1. I don't even know who's on the 3-on-3 team. Is those the people that couldn't make the real Olympic team? I'm not sure.
No, I think it's something new.
The what?
It's something new.
Oh,
3-on-3. Because remember,
yeah.
so you have like what's called the mixtapes for those who live in urban areas. They had a thing called, if you remember the And1 series.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, then they switched it to mixtape and then became 3-on-3. So they decided to bring it into the Olympics.
Yeah, but I don't know who's playing.
I don't know either.
Or are they college players? Or the older pro? I don't know.
I think they're semi-pros.
Okay. Hopefully they're getting paid. We got women's 3-on-3 basketball, women's beach volleyball, and men's 3-on-3 basketball. The United States playing Latvia. And we all remember George Costanza. He's going to convert to Latvian Orthodox for that girl, Anyway, that's exciting stuff. So if you're into fencing and stuff, I think a woman got hurt in fencing yesterday, not from the United States. I think I saw some crazy video. But anyway, we digress. Let's begin, Angel, in the NFL, shall we? We got Sunday ticket news, and also, and the reason why, because it's football starts today. We've got Adam Schefter also had a story today, or a couple of them. The big one is, just punch it up here. Okay. The NFL Sunday ticket. I told you there was a class action suit. So the judge who presided over the class action lawsuit filed by Sunday ticket subscribers against the NFL said the stupid jury, I just threw in stupid jury did not follow his instructions in determining damages. So U.S. District Judge Philip Gutierrez made the remark as he heard the NFL's post-trial motion asking that he rule for the league if he finds the plaintiffs did not prove the case. So Gutierrez could also order a new trial because the 8-person jury decided to come up with its own calculations for damages. What are you people thinking?
Jeez,
There isn't a timeline for when Gutierrez could rule on the motion. In his jury instructions before closing arguments on June 26, Judge Gutierrez said, and I quote, "Damages may not be based on guesswork or speculation. Plaintiffs must prove the reasonableness of each of the assumptions upon which the damages calculation is based." The federal jury on June 27th awarded $4.7 billion in damages to residential and commercial subscribers after it ruled that the NFL violated antitrust laws in distributing out-of-market Sunday afternoon games on a premium subscription service. The lawsuit covered 2.4 million residential subscribers and 48,000 businesses in the U.S. who paid for the package on DirecTV of out-of-market games from 2011 through 2022. The lawsuit claimed the league broke antitrust laws by selling the package at an inflated price. The subscribers also say the league restricted competition by offering Sunday ticket on only a satellite provider, which I understand that. So the jury of 5 men and 3 women found the NFL liable for 4.6 billion something in damages to the residential class home subscribers and 96 million, almost 97 million in damages to the commercial class for businesses. Here's what I want to know. Of these 8 jury members, 5 men and 3 women, I'm assuming, Angel, maybe it's a bad assumption on my part, that none of them had DirecTV or YouTube TV. Otherwise, they should immediately be dismissed, especially if you had DirecTV and you're just a pissed off juror that you got. So basically, they just made numbers up.
Yep.
They just made numbers up, not based on they're based on guesswork and speculation. That's what the judge is saying. 4.7 billion in damage. They just made it up. So now, we don't know how long. It looks like it's going to be another trial. This is so crazy to me. And I always thought it was unfair that DirecTV was the only outlet. I thought it was a stupid move back in the day by not just Roger Goodell, but commissioners before him, Paul Tagliabue, that they only negotiated with DirecTV. I never, ever understood how that was going to be good for the league, to just have that one outlet, DirecTV. That's why I love YouTube TV. I love the fact that being a subscriber, I get a discount for the NFL package, which is great. And I can go to any of my friends' houses, put my code in for YouTube TV and watch the games at their house. Like I said, as long as it's not on 2 other TVs at the same time, which it never would be, then I can take it anywhere, I think around the world, and do it, which is great. But
that's cool.
So jury makes up damages, 4.6 billion in damages. So there's that. There's also, again, the Hall of Fame game is tonight between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. And also, Adam Schefter had another story. Where is it? And maybe it's Dove Clem. Hang on a second, because I think this came out yesterday. And the chain gang may no longer be the chain gang for measuring first downs, which is another just absolute. I mean, is the spotting of the football the most unprecise thing in the history of sports? It's been that way for a long time. But I think Doug Climate had it yesterday that they're going to try to do something, at least an exhibition season this year, and see if it works. I don't know how. I don't know how they do it like they do in tennis. It's the spotting of the ball going out of bounds. Whatever they need to do. But these chain link stuff and these older guys who can't run down the field fast enough, especially in a hurry up offense. I mean, it's ridiculous. So they need to fix that. It's the most unprecise thing in sports, the spotting of the football.
Well, there's also, remember too, last year, Pete, I think it was like 4 college games and I believe 3 professional games where the games would have gone the other way, where it was, I love when they come out with the distance or like, oh, you have X amount of inches to get to the first down. And then they come out with the measuring sticks. So now it's more than the obvious. It's friggin' 4th down. And you have like literally a fist between the chain and the football. And here comes the ref. First down. Like,
yeah.
What
Yeah,
are you seeing
crazy.
different when I'm not?
Angel, if we could, on my Twitter page, I just tweeted it out. We had a little brouhaha in Pittsburgh yesterday, and this will happen from time to time, but this was a pretty good one. Justin Fields was hit on the run by Landon Roberts, former Patriot, by the way, linebacker, and D-back Beanie Bishop, and rookie lineman Troy Fontenot and Mason McCormick immediately went after Robertson. They started a little brawl in Pittsburgh because that's what you want to see right before.
Exactly.
Right, but if we can play that, it's kind of a mess. You just wonder what you're going to accomplish here. And this is not the first time this happened. It won't be the last. This happens a lot in the preseason, not just with with joint practices, but within the team. And coaches will write it off as it's just feisty. But here's how you can get hurt.
Yeah. By the way, YouTube and Facebook, this is available on public domain.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any sound for it, but
There's sound.
yeah, I can't hear it. Yeah, I can see it. I can't hear it. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We get the idea. It's only 60, but you get the general idea of what
By the way,
happened.
did someone throw up a yellow towel as a yellow flag? Do we have refs in this game?
Well, yeah, you probably do. They like to have it. It could be a coach or so. I mean, they usually not a coach, but they usually bring in a lot of officials or retired officials do this for extra on the side during practice, so the players know they can't get away with it. So I'm not. Obviously, they're going to throw flags. There's no question about it. When we come back, more NFL stuff. We're going to hear from Aaron Rodgers. Then we're going to do a whole rundown of NFL sound and camp. Only one guest today, my man Matt Brown, who is outstanding. He writes for Extra Point. He's great. We had him on. Remember, we had him on a couple of months ago after he was on Paul Feinbaum's show talking about the new college football EA Sports game. So we're going to get into. He's great at writing about the business aspect of sports. We'll get his thoughts on the new game. Plus, the Madden rankings come out today, which absolutely bores me to tears. When ESPN starts doing segments on it, I understand they're trying to appeal to a younger audience. I really don't care. I love the game, like I love the college game, but I don't care if somebody's a 95 or an 87. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But some of these NFL guys, Angel, we've seen it. They get pissed. How can you only rank me? Why am I not a 98? Why am I an 88? This, that, and the other thing. It's just like, are you serious? Are you that, and Scott's with yourself and that narcissistic that you really give a damn what a bunch of geeks think about rating you as a 92 or a 90 as opposed to a 98? So we'll get into all of that with Matt Brown as well. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here on the Coastal Sports Network on the video platform. You can follow me at pshep326 and X Twitter, on Facebook, SR1029thegame.com. We're powered by Ion TV, Ion Tampa Bay, CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. And always you can call or text at 727-858-6650. Lots of NFL sound next coming your way. And Aaron Rodgers will tell you why you don't have to worry about his relationship with Garrett Wilson, because they're all kissy, kissy, huggy, huggy. Judge for yourself. Coming up next here on the Pete Shepherd Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Sports Professor Rick Horowitz on the $1.3 trillion business of sports. Special Olympics specials all the way through the next week and a half or so. And the beginning is the numbers. About 15.3 million tourists expected to be here during the Olympiad and the Paralympics. About 5.5 million French coming to Paris. Obviously, the three major airports at overload, they've had 15 successful dry runs, security, logistics as well. 115,000 bags. Hopefully they don't lose them. And obviously, it's not just the bags. How about the javelins and the canoes and the kayaks? We don't bring them, but if an Olympic athlete doesn't have it, it's death to him as far as competition is concerned. Bottom line is Paris is ready in all material contexts. From an incredible opening ceremony, most of these athletes leave 24 hours after the closing ceremony or before, ready for the onslaught. 20,000 media and VIPs as well add to the mix. Sports professor Rick Horrow, Sports News Minute. More Olympic updates follow.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Welcome to August, everybody. It is August 1st. Can you believe it? Welcome back to the Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. As we are kicking ass and taking names, lots of great things happening on the network, and we'll have some pretty good announcements coming up here. Chris Landry next week on Tuesday. That is being, we're going to be about a week late with that. I was supposed to start this Tuesday, but we are finalizing a whole bunch of stuff right now. Angel Martinez, and there's lots of good stuff happening. Before we get into Aaron Rodgers and everything else, what's coming up today on the network?
Today on the network, we have, let's see, today is Thursday. Let me think real quick here. The new episode of Marshall Time is up. The new episode with Kat and Pat is up as well. Q, I believe, is having a travel day today, if I remember correctly. So he'll be back tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow as well because I still have a couple things that I've been doing to make it easier for everyone to come and stop by the sports radio website, which is sr1029thegame.com. It's always up on the screen. You guys, we always ask to download the all-new digital sports app. Tons of people visit the site. Do us a favor also, while you're there, download the all-new digital sports app. So when things happen like yesterday, for example, YouTube and Facebook decided to cut us off because we play something from public domain, it never stops over on there as well. Plus, you can listen into the radio station live. So if you're in your car, as we always say, you can jump in the car. And if you're watching a live program, switch it over to the radio side. It picks up right where you left off. And then when you arrive at your destination, if you want to pause the radio, play back the live video, you can do that as well. So that's what's going up. So there's new things, new features I'll hopefully have up by today. Talk about it come tomorrow. And by the way, speaking of, I like to, as I shared with the team here yesterday, welcome our newest.
Oh, yes. This was unbelievable. You sent this out.
Yep. So,
Nigeria. Hello.
Yep. Uzbekistan, Israel, India, and Pakistan. Thank you guys so much for not only downloading the audio from the show, we do appreciate it, but also for tuning in live. So thank you. I wish I could say it in your language, but I can say it here in American language. Just thank you. We appreciate everyone who tunes in, and thank you to all the brand new listeners. That's absolutely awesome.
That is. I mean, we have we're literally a worldwide audience. You keep track of it. All the different countries that have followed us at one point, or they're still following us, and went all over Europe. Now we're all over, India and Pakistan, and that's just it's fantastic. Not to mention Canada and Mexico and Puerto Rico and all over this great country of ours in the United States. So thanks everybody. Again, I try to play when you do digital stuff like this. We try to get as much video as we can. We have great sound, as you know, from Total Sports Prep, which, by the way, let me get that out of the way today. Not getting out of the way, but for the latest and best articles on audio, only one source that provides everything you need, 365 days a year to satisfy your sport crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sport kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. You can see it on the screen as well. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Awesome stuff, Angel. And I saw that we snuck in the Rick Horrow Olympic Minute, which was great.
Yep.
So that was fantastic. So maybe we could plug that in again at some point, because I want to hear. I only caught the last couple of seconds of it. But I want to hear that again.
We will do it at the 8:30 hour. So an hour from now, we'll plug it back up there again.
Sweet. Yeah, Rick's in France, and he is covering the Olympics for a couple of outlets, and it's great. I talked to him yesterday. Clear as a bell. His phone never sounded more clear, Angel. Maybe that's the key. To get him out of the country. He has a hard time getting on Chrome and getting us on video. In France, he sounds great. But
now I know the secret.
Yes. All right, if we could, off ESPN, let's get to, because I have the sound for the same sound on Total Sports Prep. It's great, but I always like to show you the video as well if I can. So this is Aaron Rodgers yesterday. You're going to have to play the commercial, or not play the commercial, but it's on ESPN's, I think it's the second story down. Aaron Rodgers yesterday.
He's really getting on my nerves.
Oh no, but it's good for us because it's good to make it's good to make fun of him. Fantastic. While you're getting that ready, the United States men's basketball team yesterday, I did not watch 1 minute of it, beating South Sudan 103-86. South Sudan with the easy cover. I think it was 29.5 or 30.5 was this is the same team that was a 43.5 point underdog about 10 days ago, and the United States won by a point. So they covered, they played well, as they should. Beating South Sudan. I just can't get excited about it. I just don't go out of my way for it as well. All right, this is Aaron Rodgers yesterday, and you've seen the stories about him and Garrett Wilson, blah, blah, blah. Here's Aaron Rodgers explaining himself.
And again, Facebook, YouTube, this is available on public domain. Goodness gracious.
Often appearance versus reality in life and on the football field, and what it appears to be might not always be what the reality actually is, as far as whether or not we're upset with each other. We're just passionately talking about the details of a situation that might not have to do with either of us. So G and I got a great relationship. We spend time together off the field. On the field, there's a way of doing things that we both agree on. And when it doesn't look exactly how we want it to, sometimes there's some side conversations that happen.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. I love it. And he also said he's got to get on my page, but I have to get on his page. Angel, if I may ask you to go to Total Sports Prep and to the Football Sound under AFC, and with some more Aaron Rodgers stuff here. If you see it, the first one I wanted to play, it's in alphabetical order. So, but it's the last Aaron Rodgers cut. Was quick to dismiss the rumors and then kind of cusses a little bit as well between the turmoil. Want to start with that one?
Okay, here we go.
All right.
The headlines are saying words like fuming Aaron Rodgers. You're out there with like whoopee cushions and like rubber chickens doing like pranks and doing the Ric Flair walk. What gives?
You saw the Ric Flair walk?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Nobody even knows what that is. It's not a, you know that. Come on. Like, there's always stories to be made up. Listen, I also, and I talked to G about this. There's appearance and there's the reality. What it appears to be can be taken, you can run with it. The reality was, you can't really tell because I watched the video. Like the second conversation, we're kind of laughing at each other. I'm teasing him. He's like, kind of like the little brother's getting teased, and then he kind of snaps back, and then I tease him back. So it's a whole lot of nothing in the end. There are good conversations that we have when the fans or the media is not zooming in on us, but he's a passionate guy. I'm a passionate guy, but a lot of that stuff is literally not what the reality is. The appearance doesn't even really match what was said out there, I think, to a lot of extent, because if you look at our faces, you can kind of see in the second video, I'm laughing at him.
Okay, here's the thing. A lot of the stuff with Garrett Wilson, it happens. Take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it's happened a couple times now. It basically, somebody zigged when it should have zagged. Either that's what Aaron Rodgers is trying to say, and Garrett Wilson is saying, no, I zagged. I didn't need to zig. So that kind of thing. I can understand that. The frustration happened the other day in practice when he was sacked like 5 times. The lineman stepped on his foot. He threw passes to Lazard that went through his hands and got picked. So the Garrett Wilson thing is like kind of, it's a fun story for us, and we make fun of it and all that crap. But they have other issues that happened in practice yesterday. The Garrett Wilson thing, zigging and zagging, is the least of their worries. If we could stay right there and go to the first cut from Aaron Rodgers, discusses his conversation with Garrett Wilson at Jets practice. This is from SNY. Some of this you might have just heard, but this is the longer version.
The headlines are saying words like fuming Aaron Rodgers. You're out there with like whoopee cushions and like.
Oh, that's the one you just played. Yeah, it's the first Aaron Rodgers cut.
There it is.
Well, when you were in Tahoe a few weeks ago, somebody asked you a question and you said something about Devontae, where you look forward to playing with him again, I think was the comment. That set off a lot of speculation. Just what were you saying there?
Well, I do love Devontae for sure. that particular guy was a tad bit irritating, I would say. It was one of those things where it's like when you just like somebody's in you, like asking the same question over and over and over, and I just was trying to just give him something and get rid of him. Yeah. But I think I was talking about golf.
Playing golf with Devontae?
Yeah.
Whatever. By the way, Gas Pump Guy said good morning, fellas. I forgot to mention that as well. So good morning, Gas Pump Guy.
Good morning, Gas Pump Guy. Also, okay, but I wanted to play the cut about the first one about Aaron Rodgers discusses his conversations with Garrett Wilson. That's the first one, Angel, for Aaron Rodgers. Right above that. It's
been floating around on social media today, the conversation between you and Garrett, the very passionate. Just kind of, what happened there from your assessment.
What do you say?
He blamed you.
He blamed me? I blame him.
He basically said it was just a conversation between two passionate people.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's often appearance versus reality in life and on the football field, and what it appears to be might not always be what the reality actually is. As far as whether or not we're upset with each other, we're just passionately talking about the details of a situation that might not have to do with either of us. So G and I got a great relationship. We spend time together off the field. On the field, there's a way of doing things that we both agree on. And when it doesn't look exactly how we want it to, sometimes there's some side conversations that happen. I love those conversations, though. I mean, it's about the details. It's about winning. It's about seeing what he sees. He's got to get on my page, but I got to get on his page, too, because he's got a whole book that I need to stand fully of skill set, ability, and feel, and rhythm, and all the different things that he does out there. So those are good conversations. They might appear to be much more heated than they are, but there's usually a smile on our face afterwards, at least one of us.
I smile all the time after I see this because it's amazing. I love it. And if we can, let's scroll down to Garrett Wilson right there. Talks about Aaron Rodgers' emotions at practice.
Garrett Wilson, where are you hiding, Garrett? Right there.
Right on is yeah. Okay.
Oh, hold on. No, because I see I may have, unless I played that one earlier.
No. This is Garrett Wilson talks about Aaron Rodgers' emotions at practice.
All right, let me go back down to a different one here because hold on.
It's right under Aaron Rodgers' last comment. It's the first one, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson talks about Aaron Rodgers' emotions at practice from SNY Network.
The joys of social media. A couple of the videos of you and Aaron talking on the sideline kind of went viral.
Yeah.
What can you just take us into those conversations? What you guys are talking about, and just shed some light where just I guess body language can maybe skew it.
Yeah. I mean, those videos they look a certain way, and we're both passionate guys out on the football field. And I mean, I was just telling Jared.
Is there an echo in here?
Yeah,
it sounds like Aaron Rodgers.
Whenever y'all see me after the game or whatever it may be, and Aaron's kind of the same way. So it's really just a conversation that we're both like-minded. We're trying to figure out a way to attack our defense, and he'll tell me why he needed me at this depth. I'll play receiver, so I'm like, man, I was open here. That's just how I am. And with that, it may look how it looks on social, and honestly, I try not to worry about it too much because it's not real. When me and him are out there having those conversations, and
not real. Okay.
Getting the way we are, we're getting better. We're getting better. We're gaining an understanding for each other and the way we go about things, the way we think.
Don't look it.
Internal the game or interpret the game. So it's truly enlightening for me every time we have convos like that. And despite how it may look, and just because I am an emotional, passionate guy, so when we lose, and I might look a certain way, but in reality, all those conversations, those things are helping me, to be better for Aaron because he can make your life real easy. So for me, it's my job to be on my details, and he's been on me about those details. So just making sure I'm checking in with him after drives, after plays, after we. I feel like I left something on the field because I want to fix it,
Hey, how was my stream today? Pretty good. If we could, the next couple of that, here's Garrett Wilson again, Jets receiver, talks about his discussions with Aaron Rodgers on the practice field.
That was, I believe. Okay, hold on, because that might have been the one we just heard. But hang on.
Okay, and if that's the case, then then we want to play the one above that we haven't played.
When the offense has a rough day, like a couple of days ago, and Aaron's barking at guys, and he generally seems kind of pissed off. How does that resonate with the guys? Does the guys like uh-oh, he's pissed off, or like how do you, as a team, respond to when he gets like that kind of?
I mean, he's vocalizing he's pissed off. I know when we're getting our ass beat, I'm pissed off. You know, I may not vocalize it that way to the guys, but I'm pissed off too. So it's kind of a mutual feeling. It's like I'm glad he said something, and it's not personal. I don't think anyone in this building takes it that way. It's like, all right, this is our leader right here. Obviously, he's not happy with what we're doing, so it can be a reminder for some of the guys. I think when you're out here in these hot practices and day 8, some guys go into survival mode and they forget about the detail and the fact of the matter that you got to win the drill, and they kind of just try and do their, I don't know, I don't want to say that, but I think y'all understand what I'm saying. You got to squash that and find a way to make it about the team again, and let's go win this damn drill, because it's going to translate on Sundays coming up here soon. And I think we all have, a better understanding of that now too, because it happened a little last year leading up to the season, so we got to see it. You got to feel the practices without it, once he was injured, and maybe how the practice didn't feel as, detailed because of that. People, it's people like that demand greatness in your details and your mindset, and you're watching film, and you could feel it when it's not there, when it's absent. So I think we all appreciate it. But we all know it's go time when that comes out, and honestly, we're feeling it too. It's just certain guys have the ability to verbalize it in that way. He's one of those.
All right, and finally, as we get this little Jets segment out of the way, couple down, head coach Robert Saleh for the Jets talks about how Aaron Rodgers is coaching the offense on the practice field.
Oh, this should be great.
When Aaron is as vocal as he is the last couple of days of practice, when he's not happy with what's going on offensively, what's your take on that? Is that like literally like having an assistant coach?
Yeah, I've said it. He's a coach on the field. I mean, I've heard stories of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, not to compare them, but it's the same thing. The expectation and the standard is high. As a quarterback, he's trying to operate at a certain level of efficiency, which means people around him need to be efficient at the same level. And when he's not feeling that as that group's leader and voice, he voices his opinion. And no different than defensive side of the ball when it's not going the way people want it. CJ voices his opinion, and but yeah, he's definitely. I've said it before. It's like having a coach on the field.
Blah, 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 blah. Yep. And then finally, last one from Coach Robert Saleh was asked right underneath that why he thinks Sauce Gardner gets some of the criticism he does.
That Sauce gets some of the criticism that he does, because he doesn't seem like a dude who brings it on himself.
No, he's if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So he's doing something right. But he's as good a kid as I've ever been around. He's got tremendous humility. He likes having fun, but at the same time, it's when it's time to work, he puts in the work. He works as hard as anybody on his craft, and but I don't have an answer for that one.
If you don't got any haters, you ain't popping. Okay.
I'd be popping, Angel. That's not crackle popping, man.
I swear these guys are taking the playbook out of Kamala Harris's friggin' nonsense, where it's like, it is what it is, where the world came around to what it is, and we're going to scrub everything. Why is it that people just don't say what's on their mind? Just go out there and sorry, your cool name now, G. Why don't you just come out and just say what happened in the moment. No one's going to hate you for it. Just be honest. Just say, listen, we got into it. He said something, I said something, period. But this whole thing now, we're going to hold hands, and we saw the sperm whale coming from a distance. And then we saw
it's coach speak. It's coach speak. It happens all the time. That's what's laughable. It's just laughable about it. And then you call them out on it when things go to shit. And by the way, Kamala Harris, no. as far as her taking credit for it is what it is. No. That's Bill Belichick all the way. And those book of quotes that you get paid for, stuff like that, you come up with saying, I mean, Bill started that 24 years ago. It is what it is. And it's, you know what it is? It's the easy way out. Anybody in all walks of life now, it doesn't matter. Just stake too rare. Well, it is what it is. You know, my girlfriend broke up with me. Yep, it is what it is. I mean, Bill should get, you know, royalties every time that phrase is used because it doesn't matter. It's used in all walks of life now as a crutch.
It is.
And it works for everything, right? Ask me a question, Angel.
How was the pizza you had last night? Was it worth it?
It is what it is. Pizza. It's what it is. Mozzarella or marinara sauce. But it is what it is, you know.
It's funny though. How many people don't go dessert when someone says that? I'm like, it's so common though.
Everybody, you can use it in all walks of life. It is what it is.
It's just like you followed it up with the 4 words everyone hears. Is it 4? Let me think. Is it 5? We need to talk. The 4 words.
Yeah.
And then it's followed by it is.
That's 4.
All right.
4 words.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Before we go to break, one more cut at Total Sports. It's the first cut, Angel, at the top of the AFC is Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback, is happy that the contract nonsense, this contract talk is done.
Definitely. And obviously, I mean, I'm super grateful for the deal. And I think the biggest thing is, that it's done, that you can just go play football and move on. But then having that stability, like that's something that's hard to come by in this business. You know, that doesn't happen for a lot of guys. Yeah. So I'm grateful for that. Obviously, I know that's a unique position to be in and comes with a lot of responsibility and excited for that. But yeah, definitely when it was done, you get to the end and you're like, I just want this thing to be done. Right?
Trevor Lawrence, like I said, I believe he's going to be in the MVP conversation this year. So is C.J. Stroud, by the way. That division is going to be a lot of fun to watch, the AFC South this year. I'm going to take a quick break, Angel. When we come back, got a funny video to play. One of the Celtics has his apartment up for sale, Angel. He's moving like down the street. He's not going anywhere. Somebody that you know. But camera guys, which they work for NBC Sports Boston, and a lot of times they get access to all these different areas that normally the public would never be able to see. And this is one of those times. It is absolutely hysterical, them going into this particular Celtics, who you very well know, but I'm going to tease it. When we come back, and you will see the whole video. It's about 4 minutes long, and it's absolutely hysterical. Wait till you see what's in this guy's house, in this apartment. You're going to love it. And then finally, before we go to break, I don't know what's going on. You know, college football, we are exactly 23 days away. Week 0 begins August 24th, highlighted by Georgia Tech and Florida State in Dublin, Ireland. And I don't know what the hell is going on in Georgia. And this has been going on for a while, and it happened again the other day. There have been 24 Georgia football players arrested for driving-related incidents since January of last year. I know Kirby Smart, who I respect a lot, obviously. Guy's a tremendous coach. I don't know what the hell is going on in Athens. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't know what's going on, but that is a bad trend. And there have been some nasty injuries there as well. 24 Georgia players arrested for driving-related incidents since January of last year. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. So it's another thing, Kirby Smart, and he's addressed this many times. And I think you got to start being a little more disciplined because he's taken some criticism in the past for other guys having driving offenses and not really suspending them or suspends them for a quarter or against some shit team or something like that. But this is crazy. 24 guys arrested at Georgia for driving-related incidents since January of last year. That's way too many. All right, when we come back, camera guys from NBC Sports Boston going through this Celtics All-Stars house and apartment. You're going to love it. Oh, part of the Pete Shepard Show is hour number 2 is next here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2. Welcome to August here on the Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. I am Pete. Angel Martinez in the house as well. One guest coming up today at 9:30, Matt Brown from Extra Points is awesome. We've heard him before. You get into the sports business stuff, and we'll talk about the impact that EA Sports has had on college football and the NFL. Madden rankings are coming out. Some other stuff in the world of sports business-wise. We get that. Angel, is that supposed to be up there? Did you put that the webpage up on purpose? Just want to make sure. Oh, okay, great. So what's going on?
So I put it up there on purpose because you just kind of walk through with folks that are listening in now at the 8 o'clock hour. As you guys see always on the screen up there, it says SR1029thegame.com. As you look right now on your screen, this is what we have. It's the actual website. And when you guys go through, the reason why I always say the show is live, if you guys look, obviously I can't circle but so much, but if I highlight where it says live over there, that's where the live show is. So in case you are on the road, as we stated, and or YouTube or Facebook decides to knock us off, well, it's always playing live on the website, so you won't miss it. Exactly. Then you can also hit the radio player, which I'm not, because if not, we'll get a double echo here in the studio. But you can hit the radio player, which is shows that are played live. The ones that are played throughout the day are on there as well. The schedule of lineup of shows is in here as well. Oh, and the big thing is right below where it says text the show, which you can text directly to the studio and call the studio as well. But below that, that is where you can download the all-new Digital Sports Radio app. Therefore, you won't miss a thing. And by the way, if you want to hear about the Sports Minute, it's right there as well on the website. So I just try to make it super convenient for everyone so you guys can play and follow along and all the good fun stuff.
Great. Awesome. Well, lots to get to today. More NFL news as well from camp, which we'll get to. MLB rundown coming up, Red Sox report as well. But there's some big-time highlights. So I'm getting you prepared, Angel. We're going to play a lot of baseball highlights today from Total Sports Prep because there's some interesting stuff that happened. Before we get to that, one thing before we get to the Celtics apartment that was just a great feature. You're going to see it. Those of you in New England, Bill Sparrows and I have talked about this the last couple of weeks, but the economic development bill that reclassified land in Everett to allow a new stadium for the New England Revolution, as I predicted, Angel, failed yesterday in the legislature as the House and Senate could not reach a deal. The Senate passed it unanimously. The House is like, and I told you, it would be a freaking mess. The logistics of that made no sense to me at all. It made no sense to me. But anyway, so if we go to my Twitter page, Angel, and scroll down to scroll down, you'll see the camera guys. It's right below the Matt Damon thing, which I'll get to that as well, because that's funny. That's funny. But the camera guys. So this is what happens. The camera guys who work for NBC Sports Boston, they do these features all the time. They either go into restaurants or people's houses or whatever, celebrities. They got into Jaylen Brown's Fort Point residence. It's up for sale because he's moving down the street or something like that. Is in the market. So George Sarkis was nice enough, the real estate agent, to let them in, and they get a tour of number 7 Swanky Penthouse Digs. Check this out. Wait till you see what's in this apartment. It's awesome.
Hey, how you doing? How are you, man? Hey, George. I'm Glenn.
Nice to meet you, Glenn.
Moose.
Nice to meet you. Moose.
Yeah.
I like
Oh, thank you very much. We dress for the occasion.
You guys interested in buying a penthouse?
We're in the market. Wow.
Corner exposure, brick and beam.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, 12-foot ceilings. You don't really see 3,000 feet on one floor in Boston. It's an open concept living. You guys can really, this is fit for a star.
Love it. You get the billiards here? Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like Tom Cruise in The Color of Money. Yeah,
exactly.
Come on.
7 right there.
Yeah, go for the 7. Clean it up, George. There you go. Impressive. Yeah. That's that sneaker joint. We're sneakerheads, big time.
I can tell.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Is buying this furnished an option for us?
Buying and furnished is an option.
Okay.
The jerseys definitely can stay.
This is a transition for him to a bigger place. This isn't to go to a different city.
Maybe a smaller place. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing. He will be still living in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And he's not going anywhere.
That's a relief. Yeah.
Someone will definitely want the master suite.
Okay.
Closet.
We're gonna rock, paper, scissors. That's a heads and tails thing.
You guys can shoot for it.
Yeah. Oh.
Give us 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
We're gonna play. Yeah. All right. We're gonna use that stuff we brought. Remember when Jaylen hurt himself?
Yeah.
He looked awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Dominated.
Yeah. The cape, huh?
I'm Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Okay. So best of 1 here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, you hate to see it.
All right.
Okay. I'm doing the Rick Barry underhand. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
You're an air ball.
All right.
I got this.
Okay. Cash money millionaire.
Yeah.
All right.
Give it up. Yeah.
Well
That's
done.
A room.
Yeah.
That's a room.
Great. That mask gives you way more powers than I thought.
Man, I could feel it as soon as I put it on.
Yeah.
I was like, this is how Jalen felt.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, I got to be honest with you, it took over.
It gives you the vibe.
Now we're going to enter
Yeah.
the suite of a champion.
This is a flex. He's really got that really cool, like, eclectic aesthetic. Every room is different.
4 closets. I think 600 pairs of shoes.
That's
really? Wow.
And it sounds like the closets would have plenty of, room for.
Yeah.
Cargo shorts.
Yep.
And
Cargo shorts and station branded clothes.
That's right.
That's right. That's the photographer's uniform.
Oh, the big 3.
Larry Joe.
Kind of like the 3 of us.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this. We need to see the view.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. Quick question. If you want to get rid of the stairs and just have like a fireman's pole, is that doable?
Yeah, it's doable.
Like, this is another, like, it's not necessarily a secret feature, but I mean, this is incredible.
Private.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. This
Top
is
of the
amazing.
world, Ma.
I made it! I
feel like
You
this
want to
is
go
out.
talk business downstairs?
Wow. I feel like
Feels like
We
it's
draft
out.
up the paperwork?
it's time for us to get this done.
Yeah, let's do it. You know that saying you're worth your weight in gold?
Jesus.
Well, just look at these babies. Okay?
You guys are about 4 million. 700.
Okay.
He's gonna say over.
Yeah.
And $4,098 short.
Okay. Oh. All right. Yeah. We're gonna set up an LLC and come back at you.
Okay.
Move some money around. We'll make it happen. Proof of funds.
I appreciate it,
All
guys.
right.
Thank you.
Great. George, thanks, man. That was awesome.
Oh, man. All right, there you have it.
Man, what a penthouse. Holy moly's.
Like you said, you don't see, I'm sure it's the same in Philadelphia and New York, and you don't see a lot of one floor, 3,000 square foot apartments in the Northeast. You just don't. But that, as you saw the price there, about $4.75 million. So we'll split it, Angel, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
We'll split it. And we'll buy it turnkey as is. So I like everything the way it's set. You know what I didn't like about it? I'm surprised. The only one thing that is a flaw. You can't have, I love the basketball net and I love the metal chain. That's old school playground for us, right? But that Pac-Man machine, which you can buy those in Walmart or whatever that was, it was either Pac-Man or a machine that plays like 4, it's right next to it.
Yeah.
And the ball could hit it. One of the
Dude,
times you saw did the Rick Barry underhand free throw up an air ball. That was offensive. But some pretty cool stuff there nevertheless. So back to the camera guys. Go ahead.
That's where a lot of people, like you were saying, Philly's got some nice places like that as well. And I like the natural brick. I know some places they're finally taking away the old stuff that was up in the walls and obviously the plaster. And because the brick exposure, that's a Northeast thing for sure. And that's something that we all love up that way. So it's nice when they repoint it and they make it look nice where it's a natural wall. I think it's really slick, especially instead of a kitchen.
No, it is nice. And you're right. It is a Northeast thing with the brick and everything. And I lived in an apartment once for a little bit that had the brick wall. I loved it. It just adds different. It adds a little flair to it. Mm-hmm. All right, my friend. It is time now. If we could scroll to MLB sound, and particularly we're going to play a lot of stuff. We're going to start with the Red Sox, obviously, because the Red Sox report. We do it every day at this time. Brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Massachusetts, and in Plaistow, New Hampshire. So interesting game yesterday with the Red Sox. I think they needed it. Something they to get the series win. They did. Rafael Devers ended up being the hero. But let's start with cut number 1, Angel. As Danny Jansen's RBI single in the bottom of the 6th tied the game at 2, courtesy of Nesson.
Out here and ruin that streak. Ground ball right side through for a base hit. Smith will round. Here he comes. No throw to the plate, and the Red Sox have tied it. Danny Jansen.
All right, that's courtesy of Nesson there with Dave O'Brien. And there weren't a lot of offensive highlights after that, except in the end when they got to the 10th inning. So let's play cut number 2. This is Rafael Devers on Nesson. We'll let you hear the radio call as well. Rafi Devers doubled home the winning run in the 10th inning, courtesy of Nesson. Red Sox win. Red Sox win.
Swinging a fly ball left center field, well hit. Raley's back there all the way to the wall. It is off the wall. Here comes the run. Here comes O'Neill. He will score. Rafi delivers, and the Red Sox win it in 10, 3-2.
Well, they needed that one, didn't they? Rafi Devers comes through. The man has been absolutely.
That is Dave O'Brien and our good friend Lou Merloni as well with the color there on Nesson yesterday. The radio call just as good. Sean McDonough, yes, that one. He does some Red Sox games as well. Here's his call on my old station, WEEI.
He was 2 for 4. Last time up, he came up in a big situation with 2 men on, 1 out in the 7th in a tie game. He hit that pop-up that wound up in the interference double play. Swings and lifts one to left center field. On the run, Luke Raley back at the wall. It's off the wall. Here comes O'Neill around third, and the Red Sox win on a wall double by Devers. And a great way to close out this homestand. Red Sox come flying out of the dugout, many of them pouring bottles of water on Devers on the infield grass between the mound and second base. He went with the pitch and hit it off the wall to the left of the 379 marker for his 3rd hit of the day. And as you said, well, why pitch to Rafael Devers? Even if it's lefty against lefty, why do that?
Thank you very much, Scott Service.
Exactly. Thanks again to WEI and Sean McDonough right there. I forgot who was doing color with him, but Sean. Zach Kelly, by the way, who's now 4-1, pitched out of a major jam in the scoreless 10th, and then Danny Jansen hit a tying single in the 6th, as you heard earlier. Red Sox go on to win 3-2. Devers drove a 2-0 slider, as you just heard from Diaz. It should have been pitching to him. It was the Red Sox 4th walk-off win this season, the first game-ending hit for Devers since June 14th of 2021. So Red Sox get back on track. Still 2 games behind the Royals and the Twins in the wild card race. They get back on track. Carter Crawford will start Friday at Texas. Red Sox have the day off. And Texas has not announced a starter yet, but Carter Crawford, 6-8 with a 3.6 ERA. There is your Red Sox report from yesterday. They went 3-2 in 10. Red Sox report brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Massachusetts, and in Plastow, New Hampshire. Now, going to play some other highlights for you. Give you a little bit of a rundown, Angel. So let's see. Cubs clobbered Cincinnati 13-4. Nothing really there. White Sox, Kansas City beats the White Sox. The record losing streak for the White Sox has now reached 17 games.
Yep.
17 games. When will it end? A 17-game losing streak. Clobbered 10-3 by Kansas City yesterday. Here's interesting. Baltimore over Toronto 10-4. If we could play cut number 2, Angel, Jackson Holiday.
Holiday drills in right field, down the line, grand slam. The happiest of holidays. Wow.
All right, Jackson Holiday called up.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing that, Angel. That's the problem. But anyway, I'm sure everybody else heard it. But Jackson Holiday, remember they called him up early in the season. He had a really hard time. He went for like 1 for 21 or something like that, or 2 for 22, whatever it was. But he was doing great in AAA. They called him up again, and what a moment for that young kid. I think the earliest an Oriole player under 21 has ever hit a grand slam that Jackson Holiday did there in the bottom of the 5th. And the Orioles went on to win by a score of 10-4. That is a feel-good story. For Angel Martinez, this was not a feel-good story once again, as let's play cut number 2. Yankees and Philadelphia. Yankees jumped out to a lead. The Phillies tried to come back, but let's go to cut number 2, Angel, from the Yes Network.
Driven into left center field. Going back is Hayes. Turning, looking. And that's going to be off the wall. 3 runs will score. They say it's a double right now. And LeMahieu gets a big hit. The Yankees have a 3-0 lead.
Well, the fielders almost acted like that was a home run because they stopped playing. You see the ball kind of lob.
Yep.
Is that it?
That was it.
Okay, well, they ended up reviewing it. It ended up being a grand slam, so that's it ended up being 4-0 Yankees, and they went on to hold off the Phillies by a score of 6-5. Now, it's interesting stuff. If we get down to cut number 4, Brian Cashman, the Yankees GM, disagrees with WFAN's Brandon Turney about the current state of the team.
But based on what we've seen over the years, and listen, not to relitigate the past, but it's part of the current, what you just said. Yeah, okay, so if the urgency was always there, well then, why was Gallo given the leash that he was? Why was Hicks given the leash that he was? I know that Hal wants to win, and I know that you want to win, but the highest of urgency to win, I have not seen that the last couple of years quite the way we used to in the past. I haven't, and I don't think I'm alone. So that's why I ask, it doesn't feel different with Hal this year at all?
Well, I'd have to, I guess I'd have to get that drug tester over there and let you pee in a bottle so we can get that sample tested.
Let's go.
I'm obviously joking, but at the end of the day,
send it over.
I would provide all the, look at the roster, look at the expenditures, the retention of Aaron Judge, the free agent sign. So you got an MVP, you got a Cy Young Award winner, you got an MVP type of candidate imported that's big money. You got a retention of an MVP, perennial MVP candidate a couple of years back with LeMahieu when he was a free agent. All designed, these are just examples of all designed as the payrolls go higher, of improving your chances, of trying to stay in it, trying to fight for it. So I would refute what you're saying. It doesn't make any sense. I think when the dust settles, it just comes down to, did we win the World Series or did we not? And if we didn't win the World Series, then obviously all this stuff comes into play where you question their hunger. You asked about, why does Gallo get the leash he had, or why did Hicks get the leash he had? Well, it depends on what the alternatives were and the ability to import on those alternatives at the time.
All right. Drug testing in place.
Yep. Angel, I can't see you on the screen.
I don't know why, but let's see if I flip from one screen to the next, because you should be able to see me. So I don't know why. Let me go to the live screen for you, and then I'll flip back and see.
This usually works. There you are. Beaming back. All right. Also around majors yesterday, Minnesota beat the Mets by a score of 8-3. St. Louis clobbered Texas by a score of 10-1. Atlanta over Milwaukee 6-2. Houston got by Pittsburgh 5-4. Colorado over the Angels 2-1. Then San Diego clobbered the Dodgers. The Padres are on a roll. Padres beat the Dodgers and to win the season series for the first time, Angel, since 2010. That's 14 years ago to you and me. San Diego, again, the Dodgers 8-1. Arizona nipped Washington by a score of 5-4. Miami beat Tampa 6-2. The Rays have packed it in. There were about 15 people at that game yesterday. And San Francisco got a sacrifice fly from Brett Wisely in the bottom of the fifth inning. They on to beat Oakland by a score of 1-0. Do we have any kind of breaking news sounder? This is real. This is big. Big NFL. Do we have any kind of breaking news sounder, Angel?
We kind of a semi one, so let's go with this one.
I'm having a hard time hearing anything you play. Some of the cuts I do, but I couldn't even hear that.
All right.
All right, but it might just be glitches. But anyway, we have breaking news. Adam Schefter, Anfield Yates. This involves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tristan Wirfs, the Buccaneers, and 3-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs reached an agreement, a 5-year, $140.63 million contract extension that now makes him the highest paid offensive lineman, say it with me, in NFL history.
Holy
Wirfs was in the final year of a contract scheduled to pay him $18.24 million. His $140.63 million deal represents the largest offensive lineman deal in NFL history and the largest deal in Buccaneers franchise history as well. And Baker Mayfield is doing backflips.
I'm quite sure. What I've been talking about down here for the longest, that they wanted him to be a long-time Buccaneer. So looks like that he is going to be. So that's great for you.
5 years. 5 years, $140.63 million. Don't know what the guaranteed money is yet, but that is awesome. So there he is, a 3-time Pro Bowler, secured in Tampa long-term to protect Baker Mayfield.
Oh, we'll sign up for my credentials today.
Yep. So the Buccaneers have signed Tristan Wirfs, 5 years, $140.63 million. Antoine Winfield, 4 years at $84.1 million. Baker Mayfield at 3 years at $100 million, and Mike Evans, 2 years, $41 million. And I think the Buccaneers are going to be a tough out in the NFC South this year.
Yep. Speaking about non-paydays, but a Buccaneers fan, if he's awake and listening, happy birthday to Dylan Spalding, who turns 22. I told him last year when he turned 22, it was the time flies. So it took forever to get to 21. And I told him now it goes by even faster. So happy birthday to Dylan.
Dylan, get your foot off the boat. Spalding. No, he's fantastic. So now the NFL's highest paid offensive lineman per average, Tristan Wirfs on top at $28.1 million, beating out Penei Sewell by $100,000, $28 million. Christian Darrisaw, $26 million. Laramie Tunsil at $25 million. And Andrew Thomas at $23.5 million. So the deal includes, by the way, 88 miles an hour, $88.24 million guaranteed in that deal of the $140.63 million.
Must be fun.
Not a bad day. Not a bad day.
Not at all.
Not at all is right. Wow. Well, we're going to hear more from NFL camp news. It's going to time for a quick break. And when we come back also, a really interesting interview that Rich Eisen did with Matt Damon. And I think you guys are going to find it interesting because he's talking about, which I've been pining for, a sequel to this particular movie that he was in for a long, long time. But we'll get into it along with some more NFL news as well as the Pete Shepard Show rolls on. It's August 1st and it's Thursday right here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Sports Professor Rick Horowitz on the $1.3 trillion business of sports. Special Olympics specials all the way through the next week and a half or so. And the beginning is the numbers. About 15.3 million tourists expected to be here during the Olympiad and the Paralympics. About 5.5 million French coming to Paris. Obviously, the 3 major airports at overload. They've had 15 successful dry runs, security, logistics as well. 115,000 bags. Hopefully they don't lose them. And obviously, it's not just the bags. How about the javelins and the canoes and the kayaks? We don't bring them, but if an Olympic athlete doesn't have it, it's death to him as far as competition is concerned. Bottom line is Paris is ready in all material contexts. From an incredible opening ceremony, most of these athletes leave 24 hours after the closing ceremony or before, ready for the onslaught. 20,000 media and VIPs as well add to the mix. Sports Professor Rick Horrow, Sports News Minute. More Olympic updates follow.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepherd Show. It's fun for the whole family. If it's dysfunctional.
What? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. I just heard breaking news a little while ago by me, the Adam Schefter. In case of you Buccaneer fans out there, and you got to be excited about this. Tristan Wirfs has signed a huge extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, $140.63 million, the largest ever for an offensive lineman in NFL history. So breaking it all down, here's what it looks like for the next 6 years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have Pro Bowl offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs under contract. He's now scheduled to make during that time $158.869 million. About $85 million of that is guaranteed. So since entering the NFL, how about these numbers? The number 13 overall pick, 3-time Pro Bowl selection, two-time All-Pro selection, Super Bowl champion, 3 seasons at right tackle, last season at left tackle, highest paid offensive lineman now in NFL history, and the highest paid Buccaneer, obviously, in history. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they've got everybody coming back, and Baker Mayfield has got to be ecstatic that he's got one of those top offensive linemen there. By the way, Bill Belichick is also going to be joining the Underdog Fantasy Show to create and produce a new football show debuting this season that will feature Bill Belichick breaking down film, taking fans through the process as if he were coaching the team. I got to tell you, Angel, one of the most fascinating things in my career was back, it might have been 2002 or 03. So Bill held a private session with some of the media people, and I got to be involved in this. There were probably like 50 media credential people.
Right.
And he conducted, we were in the film room with him, like the players would be, just the media. And he did a session for us exactly how he would do it for the players. And it was absolutely beyond fascinating. What he went through. He was showing plays. I mean, the knowledge and the memory and key plays to this formation, why that worked, why this didn't work, why Tom did this, maybe he should have done that. Defensively, schemes and formations that worked and didn't work. It was amazing. It was 45 minutes, and it was something I will never ever forget. And that's why SEC Network does this all the time too, and I think the ACC Network does too. If you ever watch one of these shows, I don't care if you're a fan of the team or not,
right.
Watch those shows where the coach and either the reporter or another player, or it's the coach and the quarterback usually, in the film room on SEC Network or ACC Network, and they're going over, say it's LSU, A&M or something like that. And you'll have Brian Kelly there, with the quarterback and the reporter, and they're going through why this formation works, why that formation works. They slow it down, fast motion, reverse. Is, if you're a fan of football, which I know most of you are, it's awesome. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right, more.
Your thing, the one thing is, and what amazed me, and obviously we got to see it during the roast and some other stuff, but it's different because you were up there in New England. You saw Belichick from the time he obviously was a Patriot up until almost he was gone. But the side that we get to see now, I swear it, unless I happen to see it like the way you guys have seen it, I would never thought the man had a sense of humor. Honest to God.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's why, like I said, I was fortunate enough to do be with him many social events too, outside of Patriot. I told you, charity poker tournaments, a lot of charity stuff for this, that, and the other thing. And look, and just being able to talk to him for over a decade, once a week for a half hour or so, just a conversation sometimes off the air. Sometimes on the air, he was much more comfortable with Glenn and myself, but also a big part of it was our two All-Pros, and Steve Diassi and Fred Smerlas, legendary guys that played for Buffalo and the Giants and Dallas and all that stuff. So having two former players and one that played for him, and Steve Diassi with the Giants and won a Super Bowl with him, that it made he was much more comfortable and would open up a lot more. And then we just stay away from the minutia stuff. We talked about football, and then we talked about, I don't know, life stuff. It was just a lot of fun. That it wasn't just yes, no. After games, he's much different, but he's got a very dry wit. He has a big time sense of humor, and it was very lucky to be around that for over a decade. Meanwhile, Ange, we'll get to more NFL stuff in a second, but I wanted you to see this. If we could scroll down a little bit on my Twitter page. It's down a little bit on Awful Announcing. This is Rich Eisen. Had a really cool interview with Matt Damon, who's got that other movie coming out with Ben Affleck and stuff. Casey, but this is really cool. Everybody loved that I know. I don't know anybody that doesn't like the movie Rounders. It was a big movie. And I've been waiting for the sequel to come out for a long, long time. There's always been rumors about it. But here's Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen Show with Matt Damon talking about, entertainment stuff. This is really cool.
you and Ben must get scripts, ideas. Do anybody come to you with sequel ideas at all? Anybody come to you like, hey, you should do this with the characters, Good Will Hunting, anything like that? People constantly knocking on your door saying you should do that?
Yeah, actually, well, Ben just did The Accountant 2, and we did that through our company with Warner Brothers, but through our company. And the one that we've been talking about for years, and we're trying to, and I just saw Edward Norton a few weeks ago, and like all of us want to do it, is a second Rounders movie. Because so much has happened in that poker world in the last 25 years. It would be fun to catch up with those guys. But there's a whole, you got to figure out who the chain of title and who owns it and who, and everybody's got their hand in the pot. And so we got to figure out a way to make a deal that makes sense for everybody, particularly the people who are going to make the movie, because that's at Artist Equity. That's who we care about, are the cast and crew. And so we're trying to figure that out, because I think we'd all like to do that.
So do you have a general sense of what it would be about or look like once you can clear the business deck here, Matt?
Well, it's funny, we talked about it, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago, and Brian and David, who, wrote the Rounders and then went on to do Billions and, very successful guys, they had a whole movie ready to go then, but now there's been a whole nother kind of change in the poker world since then. So I haven't talked to them about what it would be, but I know they'd come. I mean, what they had 10 years ago, I thought was fantastic. And I'm sure they've, they can augment and kind of roll with the times and update it to where we are today and make something great.
Yeah, we have many drops that we do on this program, Matt, to use a radio term, because we're being simulcast on the radio, that whenever there's an argument over whether somebody's worth the money or not, we use this drop.
Pay that man his money.
That's it right there. We use it all the time, man.
That's great.
So we're ready. We're
perfect.
Ready. All right. And I'm not the only one, man. I think a lot of people would love to see a Rounders too.
Yeah, I think that's one of those movies that, it came out and didn't do well when it came out. It kind of bombed, and then it got discovered by people later. So when that happens, people feel a sense of ownership. Like that's my movie. Like I was a champion of that movie even when no one else was, and so it feels like there's a lot of goodwill behind it. But we got to figure out if we can make it happen.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel.
I'll tell you, I hope that gets done. And I did see it in the movie theater, and I loved it because I was a poker player. I just kind of started a couple of years before that, taking it seriously as a tournament player. And of course, that cut, pay that man his money. The great John Malkovich, who played Teddy KGB in the movie. I remember when watched it with my dad too, when it was on HBO, whatever, later, a year later. We just loved it. I've seen Rounders probably 50 times. Every time I see it, there's something that you didn't see in the previous. It is really just spectacular. It's so good. It's so well cast as well. And I hope they make a second one. It's like I said, 10, 15 years ago, Matt just confirmed it. I thought they had the script done. It's all these stupid logistics of, because that movie today would make a fortune. People would go see Rounders too. I don't know anybody that's seen that movie that doesn't want a sequel to be made. It is just, it's that good. And obviously Ed Norton, who, the last scene of the movie in Rounders is Matt going off to Vegas in a cab to go play in the World Series of Poker because he just won all his money back and had 3 stacks of high society, as he said, 30 grand. And the buy-in for the World Series of Poker is $10,000. And I was fortunate enough to play in that tournament back in 2010 in the main event. Got sponsored by a dear friend of mine, George Lambert. It was great. And the worst loss of my life, the worst suck out ever, as I had jacks full of aces on the turns. This is right before day one. I had jacks full of turns on the board for me. Went all in, and the guy had a 2.4% chance to get a 6. He got the 6 of spades for quad 6s, and I was done. It was. I still don't like thinking about it because it's like a bat. It's like the ball going through Buckner's legs, like that kind of thing. It just made me made me sick to my stomach because I had played so well. Because at the time it was 30,000 starting shift, 2-hour blinds. You're patient. I had done everything right, played well, played with a lot of pros, and the other thing too. I should have known maybe bad luck was going to be on my side. Not bad luck, but different luck. Right about 2 hours into the first table, so it's about 2:00 Vegas times. You started at noon, and there were a couple pros that were at my table that maybe you know, maybe you don't know. It doesn't really matter. Phil Hellmuth, if you don't know who Phil is very demonstrative, vocal, can be a real asshole to people at the table at times. Very nice away from the table because I talked to him. Very nice away from the table. When he's at the table, he yaps to everybody. Phil always thinks he has the best hand. Anyway, but he always makes an entrance, and this was at the Mirage at the time. He always makes a big entrance. Sometimes he comes in, on a rickshaw. He'd be dressed up as an Egyptian or something like that. He'd be carried in with like people dressed as Cleopatra. Really made a grand entrance. Always a couple hours late. Never there for the first 2 hour for the first blind because you don't really need to be there for the 2 hour. I mean, it was such an event for me. I wasn't going to miss any of it. It was outstanding. But you could really miss 6 hours, and you're only talking about missing 3 blinds. So it's not a big deal. So he comes waltzing in finally around 5:00 in the afternoon. He gets sit at the ESPN second table right out of the gate. Our table, somebody knocked somebody out. I can't remember what happened, but we lost a person at our table. So they were gonna already break it down. We were lucky. They came over to our table. And it's like, okay, the 8 of you that are left here are going to go to the ESPN table with Phil Hellmuth. And I was like, oh, what a dream. I go, I can't wait for this mofo to try to get into my head. I'm going to blast him. And then he says, oh, wait a second. I'm sorry, the 9 of you are going to go over there. He goes, oh, wait a second. We can only take 8. And he goes, low card is out. Boom, 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 boom. I get the 2 of spades. So I get sent to the other side. And I started looking at it 2 ways. One, this is bad luck. And Jesus, my dream to play and rip Phil Hellmuth is down the toilet, for now anyway. And then I get sent to the other side of the room. And I said, maybe it's good luck because maybe I'll be with a bunch of idiots and just wait it out. Well, nobody was really an idiot, but especially for a $10,000 buy-in. And I waited patiently. I got moved around a couple of other times, but it was a fantastic experience right up until I got knocked out before the end of day 1. It was just something I still see that 6 of spades being turned over, and I go, it's like slow motion. No. Anyway, I'm totally convinced that I won that hand. I would have cashed. I'm not saying I would have won it. I'm saying I would have cashed. I would have had almost 3 times the average number of chips going into day 2. But I had a wonderful experience afterwards. I cashed in 2 other tournaments, and it was cool. Scotty Wynn played in a 1-3 cash game with Scotty Wynn. If you don't know Scotty baby, and he's just hysterical. He has a lot of gold chains and skinny Asian guy he wears all these eclectic suits. If you ever look him up, he is one of the funniest people on the planet. And he sat down with us for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, absolutely shit-faced, just dumping money to us in a 1-3 cash game. This was like at 3:00 in the morning. It was a riot. But he's one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Did you play when we went to Vegas in February?
I played one day. I played in one tournament. Didn't really have time because of the start times. I played the first day we were there because that's the only time I had. When we got there in the day, and I played in a tournament that night, and I bubbled the money. It was a $100 buy-in. I think first prize was about $1,600, $1,700. But I know whatever it was, I bubbled the money. So that was a good run.
Is there gambling?
That's the only time I could play. What?
Is there gambling in New Orleans coming up for?
Oh yeah. There's a casino in New Orleans. Oh, absolutely, absolutely is. I remember in 2001 being at one and the sun coming up, and it was hysterical because me and a few other people were at a blackjack table, and I mean for like 7 hours. It was just one of those things. Everybody was just winning, and all of a sudden the sun's coming up. I'm like, oh God, I got to get to bed because I have to do the show with Glenn coming up in a couple hours. And that was Friday morning. I'll never forget it. Went to bed for about 2.5 hours. my producer, Andy, calls and wakes me up, get in the shower, and I remember Freddie Smirla saying, Pete, you need toothpicks to keep your eyes open. I was so exhausted, but I got through the show. We had a good show. We had a lot of guests. It is on radio. We had a lot of guests, so I didn't have to say a lot, didn't have to do a lot, just updated people. And then I remember we got out of there because it's an hour difference. So instead of doing 2 to 6, it was 1 to 5. And I remember getting back to the Holiday Inn, which was right near the casino where we were staying,
right
down the street from Bourbon Street. I remember getting back, and at 5:30, I was out like a light. And I was a Friday night on Bourbon Street, and I went out like a light from 5:30 in the afternoon on Friday, woke up about 9 o'clock the next morning. That's probably the longest sleep I've ever had in my life. And it wasn't because it was just like the whole being around the Super Bowl and being out and winning some money. It was a lot of fun. But Spalding, yes, thank you for the birthday wishes. You are welcome, sir. You are absolutely
welcome. By the way, once again, happy birthday, Dylan, as he turns 22 today. For my urban folks, 2 things. One is, and now I lost my train of thought when it came to gambling. What was it? One was, I know what it was, as you talked about staying up all night. So 2 things. One is always the first of the month. One of the things you have to live in the city in order to understand Happy Welfare Day as it was the first of the month. And then the other thing was, did your friends up in the Northeast ever say, like, if you stayed up all night long and obviously you saw the sun come up, did you guys ever hear the term "you broke night"?
Yeah, you broke night. Yeah.
So of course, and for us, then we lived in the city. It was funny because our friends that lived in our neighborhood, like, yo, we broke night last night. And I'm saying, what did you do to the night? What happened? He said, we broke night. I'm like, okay, explain to me what the hell happened. He was like, yo, we were up all night, right? And then we saw the sun come up, so we broke night. I'm like, gotcha. All right, you broke night. I get it. So for those who don't understand the Urban Dictionary, that's one of those things. And Rick shares something, I don't know if I'll be able to get to or not, or maybe we'll have to get to it tomorrow, how to speak Philadelphian, but it's the words in the music. And I shared it with Debbie because there's a particular word that I use all the time. And if she watched the video, she would understand now how it is. But maybe we can try and play some of it in the next hour.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because there's stuff like that. There's, Boston speak and there's New York speak. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I totally get it. It's funny as hell. If we could, Angel, scroll up back to Football Sound in the AFC. And I wanted to just a couple of cuts before we go to break. And then we come back. We're going to do the NFC as well. Where after the top of the hour, we'll hear from DJ Moore, who also got very rich a couple of days ago, signing his new deal. We'll hear from him. And we'll hear from Mike McCarthy as well. And some Green Bay sound, some Rams sound. So we'll hear from that in a second. But if we could go to Mike Tomlin, it's right at the bottom of the AFC cuts, Angel. Mike Tomlin on the Steelers quarterback situation. This is from CBS Sports.
Our eyes often go to that quarterback position. That's an area of change. How are you viewing that position right now?
Man, we got 2 really capable guys that are comfortable being the guy. We're going to create an environment where they get an opportunity to compete and show what they're capable of. Obviously, we've been really consistent about the positioning of it throughout the offseason. We described it as Russ having pole position, meaning that they're going to be given an opportunity to compete, but I just think it's important to lean on his experience and expertise relative to the things that come outside of playing to provide direction for the unit and things of that nature. And so it's been really good. Justin's really taken advantage of the opportunity for additional snaps because Russ been out some here the first week. And so really excited about the trajectory of it, excited about it continue to go with the process and having them display their skills.
All right, there's Mike Tomlin, courtesy of CBS Sports. And finally, Tennessee's Will Levis on his communication with his wide receiver room. This from the Titans webpage.
I think we've gotten just a lot of reps already against these guys, not just the padded practices, but being able to see how they're playing outside, the leverage that what they're playing with, and how that can affect, the tops of their routes a little bit. Whereas before, they might have tried a couple of things that I wasn't really ready for, whereas now we've talked about it and they can be a little more sure about the location of the ball and where they're going to be. So that, along with, getting the pads on in the run game stuff, all the responsibilities in the run game, being able to really get in there and dig out who they need to, and knowing when they have to do their responsibilities with seeking out or what have you. So they've done a good job on both ends, the run and the pass game. It's good that we're finally starting to play some real football.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, let's start with the NFC. I thought we were a little late, but we're not. We're actually kind of early. So let's go to the NFC. Chicago wide receiver DJ Moore on his transitioning from Justin Fields to Caleb Williams. Thanks to the Bears webpage.
You going, how can I say this? You're going to fight for the quarterback that's with you, that you're going to rock with during the season. So, Justin is my guy, but, he was the quarterback last year. Now we got Caleb. He's my guy times 2 because he's going to be here. So, that's how we're going to rock.
Mm-hmm. All right. Right after that, cut number 2 says the extension is a sign of faith for Caleb Williams.
Is this a sign of the faith you have in the quarterback going forward, too? Is when you sign up for 6 years, if you weren't comfortable with the guy throwing you the ball?
Yes, that's part of the reason. I think Caleb's going to be excellent. He's going to be a superstar, so I just wanted to be a part of it.
All right.
Okay. Again, he just signed a 4-year, $110 million extension. And Ian Rappaport believes that DJ Moore's extension can help other wide receivers like Brandon Ayuk get a deal done as well. This is from NFL Network.
DJ Moore, the latest star wide receiver to get paid. This deal agreed to last night. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, was at the Bears facility hammering this deal out last night. It is a 4-year deal, $110 million, which means $27.5 million average per year, more than $86 million guaranteed. And obviously for the Chicago Bears, first of all, kind of solidifies the fact that was a really good player to trade for. Remember, this was in the trade for the number 1 overall pick that ended up being Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. He now gets more money, and of course, to have another weapon long-term solidified for Caleb Williams is a very, very good thing. I would also say for receivers who are still trying to get paid, like let's just say Brandon Ayuk for an example, seeing DJ Moore make 27 probably further solidifies his case that that's probably where he should be in the 27-28 range rather than the 25 range. So a good day all around for DJ Moore and some other receivers.
Yeah, it also.
All right, and there you have from Ian Rappaport. We'll hear another report from him about the Packers, as well as hearing from Matt LaFleur, Jair Alexander, and Rich Gannon's take on Jordan Love. A lot of good stuff. Sean McVay. We'll get to all of that, plus some college football news, as well as the ACC predicted order of finish was released yesterday. We'll get to that as well, plus a Miami Hurricanes new video that's out there, the new show that we're going to show you a clip of. That is just awesome. It's all part of, and at the bottom of next hour as well, Matt Brown will join us from Extra Point. He's great in the sports business world and loves to talk about video games as well. So we'll get into that with him at the bottom of the hour. All part of the Pete Shepard Show here on August 1st. It's a Thursday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Welcome back again. Happy August, everybody. It's August 1st. That's 8/1/24. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Hour number 3, the Pete Shepherd Show. We're rolling right along. Executive producer, host extraordinaire, Angel Martinez is here as well. Bottom of the hour, Matt Brown going to join us from Extra Point. He is a outstanding and intelligent guy, young guy, and he writes about the sports business world. But we're going to talk about that plus his reaction. And it's been a couple of weeks now since the new Madden, since the college football game has come out. He's going to tell us how well it is doing and also maybe preview a little Madden stuff. I think the Madden game comes out in a couple of weeks as well. And all the athletes, about all the football players get all up their panties in a bunch because they're not rated high, because a bunch of geeks give them a 94 instead of a 99. So we'll look forward to that. Got some more NFL news to tell you about or to get to here on the Pete Shepherd Show. In case you missed it last hour or just a little while ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers broke the bank, and Tristan Wirfs is a happy man today. Reached an agreement on a 5-year, $140.63 million extension. Makes him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. The contract includes 84.1. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That he's going to get $86 million, something guaranteed. So he was in the final year of his rookie deal that paid him $18.24 million, and he's 25 years old. It's the second $100 million deal the Bucks have given out this offseason, as most of you know. They gave $100 million when they signed Baker Mayfield in March, and then they gave Antoine Winfield Jr. a 4-year, $84.1 million deal, made him the highest paid safety in the NFL. And then they signed wide receiver Mike Evans to a 2-year, $41 million contract. So the Buccaneers are on the move, and it's a great thing. And Baker Mayfield is going to be very, very happy that his left tackle has been re-signed. Is going to be with them for the foreseeable future. But, all right. Where was I? Yeah, NFL enough. And more NFL news, Angel, before we get to some college football stuff. Wanted to scroll down. Well, actually, yeah, let's after first Ian Rappaport report, how about Mike McCarthy from the Dallas Cowboys? He talks about Royce Freeman, and this is from the Cowboys webpage.
Royce is just a vet that seems very, very comfortable in our system, has picked it up schematically and has a really good understanding, particularly in the protection part of it. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I think they're all doing a good job.
Stephen Jones commented the other day that Royce was better than what you guys thought he was, or couldn't believe he was out there. What has he shown you, and what does he bring that?
I just because he does everything well. I think clearly, knew him as a runner. But when you see running backs, when the bullets are really flying and the pass protection part of it, the declaration, the adjustments, all that, I think it's been excellent. He's got very good hands, so has a very high understanding of the game, and also he's has a chance to be one of our primary players on special teams. So he's a really good fit for us.
How about CeeDee Lamb? Waiting in the wind. Mike McCarthy got a little Terry Francona in him as far as inflection and voice. Meanwhile, if we scroll down a little bit for the Packers, Green Bay, second cut on page 2, Matt LaFleur on Marshawn Lloyd says he is a work in progress. This is from the Packers webpage.
Yesterday, Marshawn Lloyd said the difference between walkthroughs versus actually practicing was astronomical. How do you feel like he did in his first day back?
Yeah, he's a work in progress. He's missed a lot of time, a lot of valuable reps. Certainly got to get him back into football shape. There's no other way, in my opinion, to simulate that other than being out there, getting those reps. But he's a guy in terms of the skill set that we're super excited about. I think he's been as locked in as you can be, just getting those mental reps. And so now it's just a matter of going out there and doing it.
All righty. And Angel, if I may, if we can scroll down just a little bit, to Rich Gannon on Sirius XM NFL Radio, talking about Rich Gannon on the growth of quarterback Jordan Love.
I think he was ready for the opportunity. As you mentioned, it didn't come right away, but I think we saw steady growth and progress from him. I think we talked to Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff in Green Bay. I think he got better as the season went along, and I think he gained more confidence. And I think that's the one thing that he really needed. He didn't really play much. Remember, they had that one start against he had the one start in 2021 against the Chiefs where he struggled, threw 3 picks at Arrowhead, and people said he's just not ready to play. And then he just didn't get a chance to play very much. But last year, got off to the slow start. They were 2-5, and then I think he just began to play within himself. And I think Matt LaFleur also, Bill, had a better sense of who he was. It's not just whether the quarterback's ready. Is the team ready for the young quarterback? This was a really young group on offense when you look at the wide receiver and tight end position groups. And I think on top of that, I think Matt LaFleur learned more about Jordan Love each and every time out. What is he like? What is he capable of doing? How much of the offense can we give him? Can he get us out of bad plays? Can he change the protections? Those type of things. And I think he got better as the season went along. I think he gained confidence. I think when you watched him play in the playoffs, when he went to Dallas and just came up like a 10-year veteran and going out to San Francisco and playing as well as he did, I think is proof enough that this kid certainly is capable of being an elite quarterback in the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And people forget how well he played at the end of last year. He went into Dallas, and remember, they obliterated that team in Dallas. And then he played really well at San Francisco as well. Next cut underneath that is the Rams head coach Sean McVay not having Aaron Donald at training camp this year.
Come on.
But your first camp without Aaron Donald. I know he's meant so much to you and your early part of your coaching career, and there's some guys who have to.
It's really my third. He held out 2 camps.
The whole time.
Yeah, so he held out the first 2 camps and won Defensive Player of the Year. So what the hell does training camp really mean? But oh man, a lot of people ask, would you try to ask him to come back? I mean, if he ever wanted to do that, you sure would be welcoming him with open arms. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity to have worked with him, and more so for the relationship that we were able to build. He really let me into his life. He obviously changed my life in an amazing way because of the things that he was able to do on the football field, but more importantly because of the relationship that we had, watching the father he is to his 4 kids, the husband to Erica, the son to his family. He's an amazing guy. He is, we know this. 5 years from now, we're going to be in Canton watching him put on a gold jacket, and there is zero doubt about it. And I think both he and I will be crying.
All righty. No doubt about that. I don't know about the crying part for me, but he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt. All right. If we can, let's last couple of NFL cuts here before we get to some college football news. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell on his offense with Aaron Jones.
But no question, Dan, I'm telling you right now, and I've said it publicly enough, and I know our opponents who tend to tune into the show because of the greatness that you are, they're hearing that we're going to run the football, and we want to establish it. I have a ton of confidence in Ty Chandler. I have as every bit of the feelings towards Aaron Jones that you do. That's why he's here. I did offer to go pick him up in Green Bay and help him get his stuff here as fast as possible when we heard it would be possible. But Aaron Jones, Vikings fans, Skull Nation, everybody's going to fall in love with this guy. Our building has already. He's unique. He's dynamic. And he cannot, be more excited to be part of our team and what it means to be part of this team. And we couldn't get him here fast enough.
All right. And finally, Kevin O'Connell on using both Ty Chandler and Aaron Jones in the backfield.
I think when he's been at his best throughout his career, you've seen that other guy, that A.J. Dillon, or even going back previous, with I remember they had Williams with them and some of the other guys, and that allows him to be a featured all 3 down back. You don't just want to have him on 1st and 2nd down and then have to pull him off the field to rest him on 3rd down, because he is a weapon in the pass game. He is as smart as any coach or any player I've been around from a standpoint of blitz pickup. We want to have that. But here's the great part is we feel really, really good about Ty Chandler. He basically ascended to the first, our number 1 back a year ago just by pure opportunity, not any kind of development plans or anything like that. It was, hey, this guy gives us the best chance to run the ball, the best chance to consistently protect the football when he carries it and generate yards after contact. So I'm excited to see both those guys because I do think they're different. I do think they have different skill sets, but at the same time, we can run the same offense with both of them, if that makes sense.
He can catch the ball. Yeah, that's a part of his versatility.
Don't you just love it? We're talking about football, Angel. I think we're 36 days away from the start of the NFL season, but the exhibition season gets underway tonight. And Canton with the Bears.
Yippers.
We're not sure who they're going to play. Going to see a lot of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th stringers and going up against the Houston Texans. But nevertheless, it is football, and we will have football for every single week now until the end of February, basically. That is, or the middle of February when the Super Bowl is done. So that is outstanding, whether it be college or the NFL. Going to be, I'm so looking forward to it. The college season is only now 23 days away. Feature game that day on week 0 will be in Dublin, Ireland, between Florida State and Georgia Tech, which leads me, as I segue, into the ACC. See how I did that, Angel?
Yeah,
pretty slick. Because the ACC preseason favorite is going to be Florida State edge Clemson. The ACC media poll was released yesterday, and Florida State edge Clemson. The Seminoles, the conference reigning champions, received 81 of 170 possible first-place votes compared to 55 for Clemson and, incredibly, only 17 for Miami, even though Miami's favored by 2.5 on the road in the Swamp coming up. You're going to rue the day, people. The poll is a sign FSU's reclaimed prestige under fifth-year coach Mike Norvell. Remember, they were 13-1 last year, though they lost 10 NFL draft picks from that team. the nation's number 7 transfer class, is entering to help replenish the roster. Florida State standing in the poll, also a reflection of the skepticism surrounding Clemson after the Tigers did not sign a single transfer following a 9-4 season. I don't know, Dabo Swinney, he just stubborn, will not get with the times. And after winning 6 straight conference titles from 2015 to 2020, the Tigers have won the league championship only one time in the past 3 years, as Nil and the portal have fundamentally altered college football. And he doesn't seem to want to be a part of it. Meanwhile, the 2024 season will be the ACC's second without divisions, and the conference expanded, as we know, from 14 to 17 teams with the addition of Cal, SMU, and Stanford. And of the newcomers, SMU was picked the highest at number 7. Cal and Stanford were picked to finish 10th and 17th, respectively. NC State also received 8 first-place votes, while Virginia Tech received 5. Louisville, last year's runner-up, finished number 5 in the poll, but did not receive any first-place votes. So, again, no question, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami. And I am really, really big on my Miami Hurricanes this year. With Cam Ward, a quarterback, and the recruiting class that he's brought in, Mario Cristobal, and next year's, which is off the chart already for next year. But we stick with this year. Gotta not mandatory to win the first game, but man, would that help to beat the Gators at the Swamp in Florida, which we will get to. We'll preview that as well. Going to try to get Joe Zagacki on the air tomorrow. He's the play-by-play voice for the Hurricanes as they got off to their camp as well early this week. And Angel, if I may impose upon you to scroll down on my Twitter page, this is a coup, and it's a little ways down, and it's the Miami Hurricanes webpage. And it says, introducing to you, Uncut. And it's a new series on the Miami Hurricanes on the All Access YouTube channel. Gives fans a behind-the-scene look at the 2024 Hurricanes with unprecedented access to players and coaches. The first 4 episodes from spring camp debuted on August 14th. Debuts on August 14th. But here's a minute and 43-second clip of what you can expect. This is freaking awesome. I love it.
How y'all doing? Because at the end of the day, I mean, Miami, we got to get back up there. It starts one game at a time, one practice at a time.
We got a lot of guys coming in, creating more competition. That's going to make this place better and dangerous.
He can make plays because he understands what everybody's doing. He runs it at a really, really high level in a short amount of time. You know, he went to high school here, he went to college here, he won national championships here. He's finally back here. You know this is going to be important to him. We coach hard because the game is hard. We're growing, we're developing, lots of good stuff. Just don't stop.
But like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched right in the face. These drills and pre-practice are for you to prepare for practice.
Once we actually hit the field running, it was a great feeling to be back.
We want to get up there into some of the top offenses in the nation. It's right there for us, and these are the improvements that we need to make.
The 2024 spring game about ready to go. The orange against the white on campus.
You're at the U, you know, that means a lot. So just take advantage of every single opportunity and don't take nothing for granted.
Goal never changes, and the work is the work. You can't keep your eyes on the goal and forget about the work. Just one foot in front of the other. We'll see you at the end.
Hands on me, hands on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, love it. Love it. This is college football, baby. Man, that's just it. I mean, everybody has, a lot of these teams have those type of videos out there as well. But the beauty is, it's my show, so I will focus on Miami Hurricane. I would play it for Michigan. I don't know about Ohio State. But a lot of other schools I would play stuff like that. Anything that I feel is going to be entertaining and benefit you, whether you hate the team or like the team or not, I'm going to play it because I think it's entertaining to me. Stuff like that, you don't see stuff like that. And Uncut, Uncut, going to begin on August 14th on their YouTube channel. So I think that's pretty cool. But the fact that college football is right around the corner. We are 23 days away from week 0, and the NFL begins tonight. And football every single day now, or every single week until February. Don't you get goosebumps, Angel? I mean, did it move? I think it moved.
For college football, yeah, because as long as they keep playing the way they've been playing for years, and I think a lot of people are starting to dig more of the college football has been starting to pass the way the NFL has changed. I really like it. I may not be a Hurricanes fan, but I like that cut. I thought it was a pretty good hype video for what they're about to do, along with USF, speaking of here locally, which my good friend BJ Daniels, I'm going to miss dearly because I got to do a couple interviews with him. I got to see the locker room, the workout facilities, and everything else. He is now with the Carolina Panthers. So good for him. He's and if you guys don't know, BJ Daniels, the backup quarterback to Russell Wilson, back with the Seahawks from Seattle, and ended up winning the Super Bowl the first year he arrived there. But he got drafted by the 49ers, was cut, and then picked up by the Seahawks, ended up winning the Super Bowl with the Seahawks that year. So he's I'm going to miss him not being on campus. So I've hoped to cover some more USF stuff this year. I'm just waiting for the green light for that stuff to happen. And then we'll get even more local stuff here. So you will cheer on your Canes. I will cheer on the USF Bulls.
Well, I'd like to see USF do well. It's not going to, I mean, it's fantastic. They got that huge upgrade renovations going on over there, right? I think it's going to be ready. I think it's next year. They did the renovations. I've seen the plans. That is going to be a great recruiting tool for those guys.
For Hurricanes?
But no, USF, they redid.
No, USF, they're getting a brand new stadium that'll be done supposed to be done by 2027, but I believe they started breaking ground, which is good. But it's going to be a beautiful facility.
That's what I said. It's going to be a huge recruiting tool for them, not just the stadium, but I've seen the plans for the locker room and everything else. They're definitely going to be competing with the Miamis and the Florida States of the world. Well, Florida State took them forever to do their renovations for that locker room. But you would think that would be a top priority. But then you got, FAU and FIU as well in the area. And, like to see them all do reasonably well, unless they play my Hurricanes. Other than that. But, I am so looking forward to going to Gainesville. I've never been to the Swamp. So I was just talking with my buddy Lou yesterday. And like myself, we did not go to the University of Miami, but I've been rooting for him since 1977. Because of vacationing on the East Coast, and he's a little younger than me, but same thing. He's been rooting for them as well. He just become a fan of teams, and we're going to a pre-Hurricanes party at Capone's in Gainesville, which I've never been to. It's a Miami Hurricane, basically a drink and eat fest for like $25 coming up on Friday the 30th. Then we got the pregame tailgate party with Hurricane fans in Gainesville at the stadium in a certain area. That'll be on Saturday around noon. Game's at 3:30 on ABC. And then come home, get a little sleep, and then drive back. Make the 3.5, 4-hour trip back to Fort Myers on Sunday. So quite the weekend. I will have some stories for you on that Monday, Angel. I will tell you that.
So
September 1st. 2nd will be my first show back, and I will be on. We'll do the show Friday before I leave. I'm going to leave right after the show on Friday the 30th. So, and then when I come back on September 2nd, that Monday, there'll be lots of stories, and I will not run on the field or anything like that. I'm not that stupid.
All right, is that the weekend or is that weekend after?
No, it is. Yeah, it's the weekend. That's week 1. Yeah. LSU plays USC, I believe, on Sunday night.
Right.
I believe. I could be off. You know what? Hang on a second. Let's do this the right way.
Did I hear?
I got it right here.
Did I hear somewhere in between there would possibly be a live remote for your Hurricanes? Oh, is that what I heard in between my ears?
No. A live remote? No. I'll do a Facebook Live maybe. So week 0 is August 24th, as we said, highlighted Florida State at Georgia Tech. That's in Dublin, Ireland. That'll be on noon on ESPN. Got Montana State and New Mexico. That's on FS1 at 4 o'clock. SMU at Nevada. So there's a team on the ACC. Now SMU, powerful team. Nevada has been awful lately. That's at 8 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. And then Delaware State at Hawaii, which is take place at 11:59 p.m. Don't know what network is. So then Thursday the 29th, we have football on the 29th of August as well. And let's see, New Hampshire at UCF, always tough at the bounce house at Morgan Stadium in Orlando. And let's see, that's really the only. North Carolina at Minnesota. Okay, that's a pretty good game. That's a big one. ACC Big Ten matchup at 8 o'clock on Fox. And then Joey B says, good morning, Pete and Angel. Good morning, Joey B.
Good morning, Joey B.
That's on, again, that's Thursday, August 29th. But at least it's more football. Friday the 30th. Temple at Oklahoma, Angel. Holy shit. What's the line in that? 70? Oh,
probably.
Temple at Oklahoma at Memorial Stadium in Norman. Good God. TCU at Stanford. Stanford stinks. I don't know what TCU has left in the tank, but that's again. Then on Saturday the 31st, as I said, great games. Clemson at Georgia at noon. That's what I'll be watching at this Hurricane Watch Party pre-show. That's Clemson at Georgia. That's noontime on August 31st. What a way to open up the season right there. Penn State at West Virginia, some of the highlights as well for that one. Obviously, Miami at Florida later on at 3:30. Colorado State at Texas, not Colorado, but Colorado State. A whole bunch of games. Let's see. What else is a good one that day? Western Kentucky at Alabama. UNLV at Houston. Anyway, it's a full slate of games. But the highlight of that day, and ABC has both of them, is Clemson at Georgia at noontime on Saturday the 31st, and then Miami at Florida at 3:30. That is a hell of a day right there. Hell of a day right there. Joyce says, battling wildfires here in northern Colorado. Loveland, Colorado. Fires are too close for comfort.
Yeah.
Colorado State's his alma mater. Oh, okay. Well, you're a Ram. There you go. All right, Angel, quick break here. Matt Brown going to join us at the bottom of the hour. I'm assuming he got the link as well.
He'll learn a few.
From Extra Point, he will join us next, and we'll discuss a whole bunch of stuff in the sports business world and video games, too. All part of the Pete Shepherd Show right here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Shepard Show.
And welcome back. Final segment of the Pete Shepard Show here in the Coastal Sports Network. Glad you joined us as it is August 1st and football begins tonight. More football every single week for somebody in college or the pros up until the middle of February. And joining me this morning, we had him on a couple of months ago. It was great. Matt Brown writes for Extra Points, a newsletter about business and policy and off-the-field stories in college sports. I have many, many questions for you today, Matt. But first and foremost, on your site today, you have to explain this. It's hysterical. What is the story behind the Potato State Trophy? And if you hadn't told me it was a potato, I might not know it's a potato. It looks like an avocado gone bad, but what the hell is that?
So it's a great question, right? The Idaho and Idaho State out in the Big Sky had a rivalry trophy. Past couple of years, it was sponsored by a local credit union. I think it was called like the Battle for the Domes, and the credit union is very prominently displayed on the trophy. Credit union decides they don't want to be involved anymore, so you need a new trophy. You can't really change things from what it was before. And after their last game, the Idaho coach like pulls out a Mr. Potato Head doll and like sticks it on the old trophy or something. Like, we can't use that because we don't own that IP, but their SID is a woodworker, and he takes an angle grinder out of some Douglas fir from Idaho and literally creates this potato trophy, which, once you get the finish on it and everything and you put it on there, I mean, it feels very Idaho. And I say this with deep love in my heart. It's very stupid. And the very best things in college sports, particularly with trophies, are profoundly stupid.
Well, again, they're all stupid. I look at the Big Ten. I mean, come on. Jugs and axe and, Winnie the Pooh honey pots. I mean, it's just, it's a potato.
Yeah. And it would make sense, right? Like, we have a ribs trophy. We have a frying pan trophy. We've got cannons. Many of the deeply cherished traditions across this entire sport, whether it's toilet papering a bunch of trees, fighting over a frying pan, they're dumb as hell. And I profoundly love that because it's another reminder that we just assign meaning to things in college sports. Something is meaningful because we say it is. And now we have one of the most Idaho things possible, a gigantic 20-pound potato.
Where's the sour cream and chives?
Listen. If Idaho State wins it, if they want to adorn it with chive wood shavings or something, more power to them. I'm not sure what the equivalent would be in your neck of the woods. I don't know if someone is to play for like the Golden Cupid sandwich.
Gator bites. Well, that's on the East Coast. Where I am in Southwest Florida, in Fort Myers area, I'd say grouper, gator. I don't know. Yeah, grouper's pretty big down here. Gator bites are big down here. They're very good, by the way.
Yeah,
we never had them until 8 years ago when I moved down here, and they you know that old saying, "It tastes like chicken." When they're done right, they do taste like chicken.
I used to live in Louisiana and had a similar experience. Right, I'm like, this doesn't look like any animal I think I want to eat, but like if you fry something right or you grind it up into sausage, anything's good.
Exactly. Last time we had you on, we were talking about, we were both excited because EA Sports College Football 25, we found out was going to come out finally. And we were going through what some of the players are going to get. Before we get into that kind of stuff, and I found it fascinating. I saw you write your column about the glitches. And I don't know if I brought this up to you before. I forget what year it was. It wasn't college football, but it was Madden's game. And I remember Matt Prater, when he was kitchen, Matt Prater went to Estero High School. This was before I knew he went to Estero High School. Yeah. But I remember playing the game, Matt Prater for the Lions, kicking. As he's approaching the ball, would shrink down to this size and then start to float up to the top of the stadium. So then I haven't played College Football 25 yet, but you say you found a glitch in this game.
I mean, there's several of them, which I think is the case for any AAA sports game at this point, because they're so enormously complicated, and there's just going to be, at this point, millions of people who have logged 50, 75, 100 hours into this thing, and there's going to be mistakes. I think one of the funnier ones is often during the pregame, montage, you'll see the home team, and they're huddling up, and they're by the locker room, and they're pumping themselves up, and sometimes you'll see one of the visiting team players kind of glitch into that huddle, or is celebrating on their sidelines. Like, did you just transfer before the game even started? Like, what did my NIL bags not drop or something? And it's funny. There's a couple of AI glitches in the game that I think are more funny than game breaking. The thing that people seem to be complaining about the most is that I said the simulation AI in the Dynasty mode has a lot of problems. You will find that FCS teams win a lot more in this game than they do in real life. Like, don't be surprised if you fire up a Dynasty and Georgia's 1-4, even though they have the same roster as the Jaguars. Like, what the hell's going on here? It's a video game. Like, if you want something that's 1,000% realistic, you're not going to enjoy playing it. I have found the game, while imperfect, to be extremely playable.
Well, speaking of college football, I also heard that in the game they've recently edited it, so they show Kirby Smart of Georgia with all the bail money he's had to go, and for all his 24 players since January that have been either arrested or detained for driving violations. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, so it's great to Kirby seeing going into the police station. For bail money.
Yeah, I've definitely seen all of the Grand Theft Athens, memes and everything there. The idea that you can't build a perennial championship program without having consistent off the field issues is not something I necessarily subscribe to, but I can understand why maybe somebody in your footprint would look at Georgia and say, this feels a little like the Urban Meyer Florida teams. Like, no, we haven't had a murderer, but there's something pretty consistent going on there that should be investigated more. Right?
Well, he keeps saying about he's going to be disciplined and all that stuff, and it never really comes to fruition. Then they got another player, Rara, it was a domestic family thing the other day. They got more than enough talent. They'll be in the playoff and they'll be in contention. Before we get into that, what about Madden comes out end of this month, right? And the rankings. I'm always stunned at how narcissistic these NFL players are. How pissed off they get. What do you mean I'm an 85? I should be a 94. What do you mean? Christian McCaffrey's the only 99, I think, in the game. But Any updates on the Madden game you could tell us? I know the rankings for the players are going to come out, and
that's kind of been dripping out there, and I understand why a fan might feel that way. Like I guess for me, I don't really have any meaningful response when I hear somebody complain. And we've seen that in the college side here too, because you have to have an irrational level of self-confidence at some level divorced from reality, I think, to be a successful elite athlete. Every two-star high school football player that might be able to crack the roster of Florida International has to think, of course I'm going to be playing on Sunday. Of course I'm going to be on the Lions, even if we can look at your height and weight and tape and say, probably not, because you need that to push yourself through what it takes to be that kind of athlete. I think it's the same thing in the NFL. I said, look, man, even if I'm a special teams guy for the Bengals, I'm still one of the top 1,000 in the entire world at my position. Of course I think that I could beat so-and-so in a foot race. For the game itself, like I did play it.
Yeah, I was going to say you played college football, right? Yeah, you played it. So what?
Yeah, I was down in Orlando, but before the game came out. I am not a big NFL guy. I don't perennially play that franchise, and so I can't say that I am like as sourced or connected to it. But I will say that there are significant investments in the physics engine and how tackling works. And having played the previous year's game and playing around with McCaffrey, playing around with Derrick Henry, playing around with some other guys, running the ball feels different, and the whole game feels less scripted and more kinetic. I'm going to be playing the college football game way more, but I can understand, I think, why somebody who's more of an NFL fan is going to be excited about this franchise. I still expect Madden to sell more copies than college football, even though college football has blown away the financial and commercial projections internally after these first couple of weeks.
Yeah, didn't the website crash or so, whatever? I mean, people had trouble getting it right initially the first couple of days because it was ridiculous. But you played college football 25 too, correct? What'd you think? Oh
yeah. I enjoyed that one much more. I mean, I have it in my office, right now. What I can tell you is like the 2014, the last college football game sold around 1.3, 1.4 million units over the course of the year, which was very much considered a financial success. But that's generally what a new Madden game would sell the first 2 weeks of release. This year, leading up to the game's release, when I would talk to people at EA and I would talk to some people in the financial services industry that like track the stock, what I had been hearing was if this game does 2 million units and does $150, $200 million in revenue, that's a big success. And that would be something a little bit better than like the NHL games. And it has doubled that already. The game hasn't even been out a month. And 3-4 million people have bought the game, which is just enormous. Like that's going to make, and I think that's a very positive development for the future of college athletics, video games, and digital products moving forward.
I know, and I've seen a lot of the players who are playing. I remember watching the University of Miami players a couple of weeks ago. They're gigantic screen up, huge. They're all playing people in the Big Ten. I mean, it is ridiculous. And I'm trying to think about the mindset of parents, especially kids going to Power 5 schools, just as ordinary students. How the hell they're going to get any work done with this game?
Right? I mean,
these kids are nuts. They play for money. Everything. They bet on everything.
Sure. Well, sure. Right. I mean, I joke about this here too, right? I probably dinged, 3 or 4 GPA points when I was an undergrad because of this game. Like, it was this and girls that were way more important to me than national relations homework. And this is something that I know explicitly because I've heard this from athletic directors that coaches are talking to their team about this. Like, just like they would when there's a new Call of Duty release. Like, I mean, play the game. We know you're going to play the game. You can learn a little bit about defensive playbooks actually from playing this game. But
I agree.
You still need to go to the gym. You still need to go to class. There is something very emotionally resonant for this edition that's different from the ones that you and I played because there's real people in this game. And I've heard about players crying. I've heard about this, like the real "Mama, I made it" moment. When you fire this thing up, and it doesn't matter if you're 63 overall, third string right guard at Central Michigan, brother. You're in the video game. My name is in this video game. It's at the bottom of the credits, along with a couple other reporters that changed the story. I paused the game. I took a picture.
Awesome.
I showed my daughters. It's a big deal. Like
I would have put it up. We would have put it up on the show.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's Yeah, I'll DM you guys the screen cap, right? Like it's like I'm excited with the
Next time
people
you're on,
that get to see themselves in here.
next time you're on with Paul Feinbaum, you can say, "Hey, Paul, you may have the SEC Network. You don't have this, baby."
You don't? No, Paul's not in the game, and Paul was a little upset about it. Last time I talked to him, I don't think Paul's played. I don't think Paul's fully played a video game since maybe the NES. Like maybe he played Techno Bowl, but he's a big surprise. Not a big gamer guy now, but he's like, I'm a big college football guy. I should have been in the game. Jesse Palmer got to be in the game, and I didn't.
I know. Jesse Palmer, we see him more on Food Network than you do, once a week on Saturdays. And he's very good on the Food Network. But yeah, why isn't Paul in that? How is he not in that game?
The actual answer to this is because this is the first game in a decade. I think EA tried to maybe limit their ambitions for some of the broadcast crews, and there's no formal ESPN iconography, and they wanted to focus on getting the gameplay and the engines right and maybe expand that out moving forward. But one of the things that kind of surprised me reporting about this, right, talking to Herbstreit, talking to Fowler, talking to some of these people is, even if they're not huge gamers themselves, being a voice, being in the game is a major professional achievement, and people get really bitter if they're not involved. The broadcasters keep score. And I think if EA and ESPN and Fox and other people are able to work out the licensing, that would be a place where I imagine this franchise will continue to grow over the coming years. How to get more real voices into the game, not just players.
So Matt Brown from Extra Points is joining us. So tell the audience exactly. You got credit for being in this game, for writing, but exactly what was your and brag about yourself. What was your contribution?
My role, I part of this was I have been writing about the development of this game more than almost anybody else. I was the guy that broke when the game was going to initially come out. I'm the guy that broke when it was delayed. I'm the guy that broke most of the audio assets and video assets that schools submitted, thanks to our friends of the Freedom of Information Act, filing a ton of these thousands of dollars worth of these requests across the country, but then also building editorial relationships with EA and the licensing industry and these schools. And as we got closer to release, I think I should be allowed to say this now.
Yeah.
I also helped make introductions and connect people at schools with EA and with some of the intellectual property. Because as you might imagine, with 134 schools and with ADs and marketing directors and licensing people changing jobs all of the time, it was easy for stuff to get lost in the cracks. And so sometimes EA would call me and say, we're not asking you to make the game for us here, but do you know the right guy at Hawaii for this thing? Yeah. Or who do we talk to make sure our Georgia State roster is accurate? Who do we know at FAU? And I'm like, I got you, because, as part of this job, I have that Rolodex. And so, connecting some of those dots here, that's part of what I do as a reporter in the business, and I was happy to do it for this game because I think it's important for the industry for it to be successful.
Now, I remember before in Madden, you could update your because of injuries, and the rosters would update every week. Now, in college football this year, is it possible? Will it also be like how Madden was? You updated week to week, depth charts based on injuries, not only injuries but walk-ons. Is that going to be included?
Yeah, the way that was explained to me is I don't think EA wants to commit to weekly. I do believe it is at least monthly on the roster size to account for, hey, a walk-on that plays his way into the 2 deep can then, whose likeness isn't in the game now but might be in October. Yes, that's in there. People transfer, people get injured, the ratings go up and down, and so there is a mechanism to do that. It's going to be harder for college because with Madden you have 2,000-ish players. Here we have over 11,000, so the order of scale is different. But the other thing that EA did tell me that is going to be a weekly or very consistent update are changes to playbooks and uniforms. If somebody busts out a swinging gate play in week 3 and that's not in the game, it can be in there by week 5. I am personally talking to a couple of schools that have said, we're going to debut a new uniform in October, and we want to release it in the game first. We want to break the news in and use that as part of the reveal. And EA is like, great, we can do that. There's even a mechanism, I think, to get a couple of memes in there. Like you'll see if you throw a touchdown late in the fourth quarter on the road, you'll see the crowd doing the surrender. Right? We have some iconic.
How about horns down? Any horns down?
Yeah, well, horns down is unfortunately I asked about that, right? Licensing reasons, not in there. But there's always like some iconic fan screen cap week to week. Are there ways to put those kind of things in the game? Like I have been told, yes.
But Sankey said he didn't give a shit about that. Like, bring it on. We're not doing it.
No, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But Texas cares. And if Texas says, listen, if you want us to give you the Longhorn and the uniform and the stadium, you can't do this. That's the same reason why you can't, in a recruiting mode, you can't like press X to commit white collar fraud. Press X to commit group crimes. You and I think that's funny. The universities who are the rights holders here don't have that same sense of humor.
But there is a lot of that nostalgia. All kidding aside, I mean, the good stuff that is college football, the bands and the stadiums. Now, I know it may be a little bit far-fetched if Akron is hosting University of Ohio. I understand in a late October game that it probably wouldn't be a sellout in Akron. But nevertheless, I like the fact that does happen. And those are the teams, if I'm playing the game, I like playing the lesser teams and trying to get to the college football playoff. And now, especially that you have 12 teams, it's going to be even more fun.
Yeah, and they've kind of pointed this out here. We get to play the 12-team playoff before the 12-team playoff exists. You kind of get a chance to really see what that world is like now. They do have a principle in here called dynamic attendance, to that earlier point.
Well,
when I started my dynasty, the first time I got the sticks a couple weeks ago, I started with Kent State. Right, I grew up in Ohio.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's your one-star program. When you start with Kent State, no disrespect to our friends in Northeastern Ohio, that stadium's mostly empty because Kent State sucks. But if you go on the road and you beat Illinois, if you go on the road and you beat Purdue or something, and you're in contention for the MAC championship, that stadium will be crowded. If you're third year of your Northern Illinois dynasty and you've made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years, it's going to be bumping. And maybe you will get that home game late in the season, which I think is a fun thing. Similar thing if you take over as A&M, first game, 95,000 screaming cultists, right? It's going to be insane. But if you lose to Vandy the next week, suddenly tickets are available, which is not something you really see in Madden. I think that's kind of a nice touch in this game.
I think that's awesome. I did not realize that. See, I love that. The crowd dynamic. That is fantastic. Angel, I can't see. Is that the credits with Matt's name up there?
Yes, sir. There it is, right up there at the top.
That is absolutely fantastic. Angel Martinez, did you have anything you wanted to ask Matt before we let him go? He's very gracious for taking a few minutes today. I'm sure you're going to be on a lot of other shows, TV and radio, otherwise, digital, otherwise. Go ahead, Angel.
All right. Other than obviously the huge success that the game continues to have, which is absolutely awesome. And as I think, Matt, I will say this much, and for those who weren't around with us the first time Matt came on, the teaser that you left with us when you were on and saying, I'm not going to say anything. You guys just wait until it comes out. What you teased was absolutely on point because that game is absolutely insane. So kudos to you and everybody had put it together because it's got to be by far the best game ever. But more importantly, which I'm pretty sure the viewers and the listeners want to know, the T-shirt. What's with the T-shirt?
Oh, yeah, right? It's FOIA and find out. FOIA stands for the Freedom of Information Act. That is the federal law that allows nosy reporters or sports radio hosts or regular citizens to inspect copies of government records. And not so helpful for the Miami Dolphins. That's a private organization, but most college programs are public schools, meaning that you can file requests to see coaches' contracts, to see coach text messages or phone records, game contracts, all kinds of things. And you can use that to see if Hugh Freeze is calling sex workers from his official school line and change a coaching machine.
Dial the wrong number in Tampa, that's all.
Yeah, allegedly things happen in Tampa. Or you can use this the way that I do to get information about game development, to get information about athletic budgets. It is a major source of information for our company to really help everybody make more informed decisions about college athletics. So this is something that maybe doesn't win me a whole lot of friends if I wear this into a police station, but if I wear this into a library or a newsroom or on the air, because this is a lot of the work here that I do, I'm happy to kind of spread the word for something that helps the public.
You do an awesome job. Just one more question. Yeah. What story do you find more fascinating in the sports business world? The settlement with the NCAA, 4.6 billions of dollars there, or what's happening with YouTube TV, which I have, DirecTV, the lawsuit in the NFL, where the judge said the jurors basically made the shit up. They just made up their own dollar signs.
Yeah, I admit I haven't followed the NFL antitrust case as closely because I've been so dialed in on the NCAA House settlement case, which I think is not just fascinating because it's not even close to finished. There's a bunch of different twists and turns here, but this proposed settlement really does reshape how almost every college sport operates. I'll leave you guys with this: the one that maybe doesn't get written about as much are the massive proposed changes in how college baseball works, right? What this settlement is telling schools is we're going to get rid of scholarship limits. You now have roster limits, the new limit here for each sport, and schools, if they want to, can offer full rides up to that roster limit. Right now in college baseball, I believe the number is 11.7 scholarships, even though you have a roster in the 30s. So a school like Miami or Florida State or Florida, that wants to be nationally competitive in baseball, as soon as the gun sounds, they're going to triple the number of scholarships they can offer. And a lot of other schools are not going to be able to do that. That, I think, is going to, really help the quality of Southeastern baseball. It's going to be great for the quality of play in the SEC, the ACC, and maybe some of these mid-major programs there. And if you're in the Northeast, or if you're a smaller program out west, it's going to be much, much, much harder to compete in college baseball. We don't really have parity in college football. We did at least a little while in baseball. This was a sport where Southern ECU and Fullerton could kick ass and make a college series. I think it's going to be harder there now. And if that's a sport that you care about, these are the kind of things in the weeds you should be paying attention to.
And then the Northeast, and even UConn and St. John's, and UConn had a hell of a run. St. John's had a
Stony Brook did not that long ago here, right? It does happen.
Matt, you're the man. Anything else you want to plug? Matt Brown, Extra Points. You can check him out at extrapointsnb.com. What else do you want to plug? Anything?
Here. You mentioned a teaser last time. I want to tease you something else here.
There we go.
You guys stick around next week. We are going to make the biggest announcement in the history of Extra Points. I've been doing this full time for 4 years. We are going to be able to announce something, I think, around the middle of next week, which is the biggest, most ambitious, craziest thing we've ever done. It's going to be an experiential kind of story. It's something I'm really, really excited about. It extends beyond video games in the newsletter. You can follow along at extrapointsmb.com if you love college football, and especially if you love smaller college football and things that are a little bit weird or offbeat. You're going to be very excited about what we're going to be unveiling very, very shortly.
Oh my goodness, that's great. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we'll have you on, sooner rather than later. After the story comes out and talk about it. That's fantastic, Matt. You're the man. Thanks so much. Best to you and your family. Thanks for taking a few minutes today on the show. Always appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt Brown, but so that sounds like FCS Division II, Division III stuff. Sounds like fascinating stuff, Angel.
Yeah.
There. Well, he was fantastic.
Gas Pump Guy said, great show, fellas. We appreciate it as always. And everyone who tunes in, of course, we always appreciate it.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As Angel just said, here on the Coastal Sports Network and across the entire video platform. That is going to do it for us. This show just flew by today, Angel. Great job as always, punching up the sound and your thoughts and thoughtful discourse and punching up all the sound and everything else. And he just sent me this touch. I'm not going to read, but I have the scoop. Okay, Matt just text me the scoop. I will not say anything until it is released. Boy, that's big time. Good stuff. Matt Brown from Extra Point. You want to check him out. All right, tomorrow, another big show lined up for you on Friday. Just working on a few guests, which Angel I will tell you about a little bit later on via text, if that's okay. Thank you. What else is coming up on the network today? I know you're off today. Q, I think, is traveling for boxing stuff that he's doing. What else we got coming up?
The new audio from Jonathan and Josh Marshall, the Marshall Time podcast, the new episode of Cat and Pat, that'll be up a little bit later on today. Some replays that'll be up there. And I believe that's about it. Some updates that I'll be doing. And the reason why I'm off is because of the updates I have to do, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and I already used 72 hours of it. So There'll be more updates coming up so that we can talk about it coming tomorrow. So that's why we always say visit sr1029thegame.com because you never know what's going to pop up there. And don't forget, folks, to please do us a favor and download the all-new Digital Sports app directly from the website.
Great stuff, Angel. Thanks, everybody, for being part of the Coastal Sports Network. And we'll be back. I will be back. Angel will be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. We'll recap, which I'm sure is going to be an exciting game tonight between the Bears and the Houston Texans. By the way, the Bears are favored by 2.5. The total is 30 or 30.5. And usually in exhibition football, I'd say on the whole, stay same amount, just bet the under in every single game, particularly tonight where who the hell knows who's going to play. It's not going to be any of the starters, I can tell you that. So, but I'll take the under. I'll take under 30.5. What the hell? Anyway, that's it. I'm back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., everybody. Bye.